So welcome into our youtube.com live chat and everything else. Sorry about that. For some reason, it just didn't want to auto start tonight, but we got it moving now. So welcome into the YouTube feed right here on Sim Racing Media. Dave Regal in the broadcast booth with you tonight, waiting on Mr. Alan Bergen to slide in here as we get ready to rock and roll at Las Vegas. Matt DiCiani finishes his qualifying effort in 13th. I see Alexander Gangler, he brings home 26th so far. Hank Caston and Chad Sanner. Now let's watch Chad Sanner here in the 17 that should be scored as the 94. But Chad Sanner in that Castrol Ford Mustang just getting wound up on his outlap. Now a lot of these drivers on the outlap are going to stay in that high groove. There's a lot of speed up there. But most of that speed isn't going to come until we start to get some rubber built into the asphalt. Of course, we're going to take a quick peek here at our race info. Speaking of the asphalt, 69 degrees if you're in the stands here, cooking away in the desert, but 88 on the asphalt as we qualify here in sim time. So, kind of an interesting start here. Sorry about that, folks. A little something caught my throat and I can't seem to clear it. But, as we go here, it looks like Hank Caston just went third on the timing line. But it's going to be a pretty comfortable night here if you're hanging out in the stands. Of course, the real race just ended. Kyle Larson brings home that checkered flag in real life. And it looks like as Chad Sanner going to haul it down the back chute. He went 30th fastest on his first lap. Now he's just about completed here with the second lap. And as he rolls it out of turn 4 and through the tri-oval, Chad Sanner going to go 14th fastest, so he improved quite a bit with a 29.24. Still about a little bit more than a tenth of a second off of race leader qualifying leader Chris Davis. Patrick Gitter, who won at Daytona International Speedway in the 500 a couple of weeks ago, from Charlotte, North Carolina, he gets wound up on his first lap. Once again, we do see him, trying to stay high, build a little bit of speed and some heat into those tires. As I welcome in my broadcast partner extraordinaire, Mr. Alan Bergen. Alan, it's good to have you with us tonight.
It's good to be here. Good to be here.
You sound very excited, my friend, to be sliding into the booth.
Yeah, I had to eat dinner real quick, so. Anyway, it's Vegas, right? So we're gonna put all our money on black and spin the roulette wheel and see what happens.
See, I'm not a roulette guy. I'm a craps table guy, but I definitely get the reference as Patrick Gitter brings the 21 across the start-finish line. He's gonna go from 35th, oh my, up to third, so he will sit inside row 2. All things being equal. Matt Mackin here in the 01 from Cleveland, Ohio. He's going to get himself across the start-finish line, and he goes 38th fastest first. Now, John Wilco, he's below the cut line, so we may not see him as, of course, we do have the chartered drivers and having to race in on time. These fields every week, Alan, have been full to the point where there are guys below an actual cut line.
Yeah, and, Look, in the Xfinity side, I've been fortunate enough to not be below the cut line, but here, this is a whole different sport. In fact, we're not even playing the same game over here. These are way too talented drivers for me to be dabbling into these Cup Series, in this Cup Series.
Mackin comes across the line in 25th on the timing line, so Ricky Williams, Steve Herring, and Timothy Cook yet to go out and record a time. While we have a second here, we're going to take a quick peek at our point standings. Roll that beautiful bean footage. Alex Princeton, as I had mentioned, he sits atop the pile right now with 76 total points. Sean Rogers just 2 behind him in a tie with Mike Witt. Now, Mike McConville, who's racing this year for the first time, this is his rookie year in Cup out of Cape May, New Jersey. He's with Joe Gibbs Racing this season under the fine direction of Chris Claude, and he's got 66 points. So he's up there in fourth. As we go through these drivers, all night long, we're going to see a lot of these names start to shuffle themselves around. We're going to see I expect to see at least, Seba Cornez, Alexander Gangler, and Kavaja Holt start to move from down there in the basement, so to speak, up here deeper into that top 20, creeping toward the top 10. It's going to get awful crowded up there as we go further on in the season because there are a lot of talented drivers that just haven't gotten themselves into a good position yet.
Yeah, so here's the thing, too, is like you said, time and time again, I'm so far I'm becoming an RJ Root fan. RJ Root's been doing RJ Root things. And that's my driver. Call him a shot now, he's going to win the championship.
RJ Root has been a long-time veteran here, and, we only just saw him make his first start of the season last week in Atlanta. I don't know if he's just going to be, full part-time this year or not, but right now, tonight, he sits in 11th position after qualifying, and there's only about 45 seconds left. So as it stands now, the cut line is starting to get closer and closer to the throat there of, Ken Ron, and I don't see Rafael Rodriguez doing that much better as right now he's running here. He starts his first lap in 44. He's got to really pedal this one hard. He's got 28 seconds, comes across the line, and Rafael Rodriguez only climbs up to 40 seconds, so he will not make it on time.
So look, a win could change your mind. Running good can change your mind. So you say, "Oh, I'm not going to run the whole series," and you're like, "Yeah, I'm running good. Let's see what we got." So it could go either way.
Well, that's for sure. I mean, here's the thing. The way that this league is structured, there are opportunities for everybody to do well. We cover all of the NASCAR tracks as we do mirror the real-life tracks, the real-life schedule, that is. And, here's the thing. There's going to be a lot of drivers that shine out here at Las Vegas. There may be some drivers that really do well, at Pocono, at Daytona, at Talladega, at, a road course. Not one person, as I do see, for instance, tonight, Rodrigo Loga making his first start of the season, not one person has a definitive edge in this league as we cover everything that real-life NASCAR does.
Right. So that, and that's the beauty about this league. Look, when you get done watching the real NASCAR race, you can jump over here and watch this race. And you're pretty much watching the same thing.
I'm not going to lie. Earlier when I was watching the real race on one screen, I had this race, during practice on the other. And more than once, just out of the corner of my eye, I thought, oh, that's different. Nope, never mind. Just kidding. It's not who I thought it was. I had the audio from one race and the visual from practice here, and it was a little bit confusing. I wound up having to pop my headphones off. But we want to try to get a hold of Alex Prince. Actually, we're going to get a hold of our soon-to-be rejoined teammate, I believe. I think I'm allowed to make that kind of an announcement. Not sure, but let's see. Mr. Matt Metler, Dave Regal up in the broadcast booth. Do you have me, sir?
Loud and clear, my brother.
Brother, listen. Is it true? Are the rumors true of what I've heard?
I'm not really sure what rumors you're referring to.
Is the chicken cock going to ride again? Is the chicken cock duo coming back?
Well, I heard coming out of their camp that they have a special brew coming out, possibly next week. It was kept under lock and key. There's a good chance. Don't want to say it's 100%, but there's rumblings, and those rumblings have generated some beautiful reserve, beautiful pour whiskey, and I think that is a great possibility.
I'm just saying right now, I am grinning from ear to ear like the Cheshire Cat, just to know that the Chicken Cock Whiskey duo is coming back to a speaker near you.
Yeah, I mean, it's a prerequisite, right? You pretty much got to have one to have the other.
I mean, I'm coming down there to the Sunshine State on Thursday, so I intend to go find me a bottle of chicken cock whiskey to crack open while I'm there.
Unfortunately, you won't find it here. It was banned.
Go figure. The one thing Florida bans is delicious.
Florida is known for loving everything except certain particular products that people with a lot of money sometimes don't like, and then they tend to disappear, and that was one of them, unfortunately.
No, but I can go get Manischewitz from any grocery store in Miami. Go figure.
There you go.
So, did you call your mother? Do you know what Jewish wine really is?
I do not.
I want to go to Miami.
Oh, wow.
I got all that out of my system years ago.
Well, listen, all I'm saying is to the fans out there that are watching us tonight and every week here on Sunday Night NASCAR Cup Series action, moving forward, keep an eye on the sim racing media airwaves because Chicken Cock Whiskey is coming back. The old band coming back together.
Yeah, it's going to be a treat.
Can't wait. All right, bro. Listen, I hated to put you on the spot. I hated to put you on the spot, but I didn't have a chance to talk to you pre-race.
I know. I seen you were in a meeting, and like I said, I'm not trying to, be facetious here or skate around the question, but there's a very good possibility the old gang is back. You know, Dave, the start of the season has not been good to me, despite the preparation. I didn't worry about qualifying trim. The setup feels good. If I can just not get run over or have the target on my back, I think we'll be okay here. Would like to get a good run in for Chris Claude before things evolve, and we'll go leave it at that.
All right, my brother. Listen, good luck tonight. Give Chris a hug and kiss for me up here in the broadcast booth, and I will see you on the other side.
You got it. I'll make sure he has your favorite shade of red on.
Well, folks, that was the voice, one of the former voices of Sunday Night NASCAR, Mr. Matt Mettler. And don't worry, there's something exciting here in the works. Not that we don't have enough excitement, Alan, but we've got something even more interesting coming your way.
Uh-oh.
It's happening.
What's that?
Later.
Oh, we're under lock and key under that one.
Lock and key. Yeah, that's why we were talking about chicken cock whiskey. He knows.
Yeah. If you know, you know, right?
If you know, if for anybody who's out there listening to the Dan Le Batard Show with Stu Gatz, he gets the show. Speaking of the show, let's take a look at how this show is going to begin tonight. Chris Davis gets a start here on the pole position tonight alongside Bobby Anderson on the front row from Mansfield. Patrick Gitter starts on the inside of row number 2, joined by Hank Kasten. Row 3 made up of Derek Heitman and Ethan Eckert, while Noah Hamilton and Cody Colley going to be in row number 4. Row number 5 going to... There it goes again. Row number 5 going to be Sean Rogers and Chad Sanner, while Nolan Hodgson and Kavaja Holt make up row number 6. Matt DiCianni and Skip Gandy going to be in row 7, while Dalton Mobley and Seba Cornez are going to start in row number 8. Row 9 going to be Matt Gaskins and Matt Mackin, while Chris Custer and Anthony Savinano are going to be in row number 10. Ron Fitting and Sean Kelly going to be in row 11, with Alex Princeton and Randall Watkins featured in row number 12. Row 13 going to have the beautiful paint scheme of Brian Tarnowski and Alexander Gangler in his number 8 Milwaukee Tools Toyota Camry, while Chris Claude and Richard Pruitt going to be in row 14. Row 15 is Mark Johnston and Tanner Marty, Ken Ron and Matt Mettler, who you just heard from, going to be in row 16. Row 17 starting shotgun on the field, Michael Witt and Ken Ron out of Dillsburg, Pennsylvania. So 34 cars set to take the start tonight, 267 laps the scheduled distance. As we move into turns 3 and 4, the iRacing.com pace car lights are out. That means only one thing as they come into turns 3 and 4, folks. The man in the stand has the green flag in his hand. The iRacing.com pace car gets ready to peel down pit road, and the only thing that's left to do is it's time to wipe the visor and adjust the 5-point harness. Grandma, get me some sunscreen so I don't get burned. Race fans, it's showtime!
And Bobby Anderson out with that jump going to the trial. But these guys are going to be nose to tails. Chris Davis is going to be nose to tail. Patrick Gitter on his back bumper, and Derek Heitman right behind him in that 4th position.
Bobby Anderson starting to fall like a rock all of a sudden as he was left basically alone here on the high side. Whoa! The 76 of Derek Heitman just dropping back as well, so obviously his throttle position was a lot different as Chris Davis brings us down the front stretch. As we cross the start-finish line, Davis going to get control of the field as Bobby Anderson makes the pass on the high side. Bring up our timing tower. Want to thank everybody for joining us tonight as all of a sudden Ethan Eckert here on the high side wants to get into this little 3-car tango, as it almost appears that Chris Davis here in the 29 wants to just kind of hang out and watch Ethan Eckert and Bobby Anderson go at it as they come down the front stretch and through the triangle.
Yeah, down through the triangle. We got a couple cars going 2x2, and this is our first true 1.5 miles. No out of bounds rules are in effect. You know, I've been watching races here for the last week. You know, ever since Tuesday, and these guys are using every inch of this racetrack.
Yes, sir. And speaking of this racetrack, we are 267 total laps tonight. We'll have stage 1 end at the conclusion of lap number 80. Stage 2 will be at the end of lap number 165. Then, of course, 102 laps to the end. 9 tire sets for these drivers tonight, so it's going to be a pretty long night. We're going to see about 35 to 40, if not 40 to 45 laps for that pit window. And the name of the game here at Las Vegas, and I wish he was around so that we could get some insight into it, my Jedi Master, Bob Nestor, he is a master at saving tires at Las Vegas. And being able to keep those tires cool on a racetrack that right now is reading, let's see, a good old 89 degrees, isn't that difficult. But as this sun starts to bake down up there, it's going to be pretty interesting moving through the night.
Yeah, so check this out, Dave. I tell you, I'm not a master at saving tires. I ran a open race here for the NIS series on an open setup, and the setup went away, and then the car went away, and then it hit the wall. So
Ethan Eckert, our race leader right now, just about a quarter of a second in front of Bobby Anderson. Many of these drivers have started to go single file. We see that very popular style here in the Cup Series. These cars are very light, and you don't want to upset those cars by accident, that's for sure. As we're going to take a look here at Alex Princeton, they're nearly 3 wide, but Princeton manages to tuck down alongside the bottom Anthony Savignano. In fact, I got a pronunciation on this, and I just kind of glanced at it. And now I can't find the darn thing.
Well, I can tell you right now, Alex Princeton is trying to find his way into that 15th spot with Chris Custer right in his way as they go down into turn number 1.
Here it is. It's actually Anthony Savignano. Savignano. I'm going to practice that all night long. So just for that, we're going to keep an eye right here on Anthony Savignano. As we see the young man from Erie, Colorado. We have an Erie in Pennsylvania, and it's Erie that there's an Erie in Colorado.
And it's eerie that I think he is a Italian. Kind of like Fragile.
Fragile. It must be Italian.
He must be Italian.
Ethan Eckert in the number 40 Menards Ford Mustang leads Bobby Anderson. A pair of Fords, a pair of Chevrolets, another Ford, a pair of Chevrolets. You don't get to the first Toyota Camry until Chris Davis back here from Koshkonong, Missouri.
Yeah, I was talking to Chris Davis a little bit after the race last week, and it's kind of shocking that he's about 3 hours away from St. Louis, down and around the Branson area. So who knows? Maybe one day. Don't.
I want to go see Soji Tabuchi. I'm not even. That is. I'm so serious. Soji Tabuchi in Branson, Missouri. My grandmother and grandfather went there like 30 years ago, and they were fascinated by this guy. And she had a cassette. Now, kids, a cassette is what you used to listen to music to before CDs, and CDs are what you listen to before MP3s, Amazon Music, iTunes, all. So anyway, she had a cassette, and I loved it. I don't know what it was, but it was this guy Soji Tabuchi. He's like a Chinese guy who plays the violin. It's fabulous. It's absolutely fabulous. I would love to go to Branson just to see that. And then quickly get out of town because it's a dry town.
I mean, you could go about an hour and 45 minutes north of Springfield. That's not a dry town.
If I'm going anywhere else, it's going to be Independence Mode.
I've been to Independence. They got good barbecue in Independence.
I'd like to go see the Harry Truman Presidential Library. That's about it. And I'd like to see where Colonel Potter from the 4077 MASH. But, it's not true, so it is what it is.
Well, the only thing that is true is Bobby Anderson retaking his lead right now here on lap number 13 as he's side by Ethan Eckert. And they are still side by side, almost drag racing. And it looks like Bobby Anderson is going to have the advantage here as he leads the field down turn number 1.
My broadcast partner has finally figured out how to lasso the big bull as I wander around here, breaking, fine china and whatnot. There's only a couple of people who have figured that code out. One of them passed away, and his name is up there in the upper right-hand corner of your screen, folks. The other one, well, he's in San Diego. But, here's the thing. Sometimes, Alan, you gotta put the rope around the big bull. And today you did. So congratulations. And you did it 15 laps in. Proud of you.
Hey, I've been watching Yellowstone, so, consider me Jimmy going to the 4-6 ranch.
Yeah, you're our Jimmy, all right. Side by side goes Sean Rogers with the 40 of Ethan Eckert. And all of a sudden, he's got a push here from behind. What in the world was that? That was Nolan Hodgson, Ethan Eckert. The 76 of Derek Heitman was just absolutely plowing forward as he goes side by side with Derek Heitman. We can see Heitman here just alongside. They are matching one another step for step as we go through turn 3 and 4 and into the trioval. We cross the start-finish line. Rogers still has the edge, but Heitman is hunting.
He's hunting on the outside, and that's the thing too, is that car might come in, later on in this run on the high side, so the high side might come in a little bit slower than the rest of the track. And so, you got the front group here, and there's two distinctive groups right now. There's that front pack, and then now you got that big pack, or that second pack there. And that's going to start with Dalton Mobley there in that number 2 Chevrolet. And Kavaja Holt there is, you're seeing him in P12 right now. So we're 19 laps in. You're pretty much just riding, making laps right now until you get to the end of the stage. That's when things are going to start getting a little antsy. People getting a little antsy, and then we're just making laps right now, trying to get to the end of the race, formulating the game plan on what we're going to do.
Kavaja Holt working just behind the deuce of Dalton Mobley. Mobley drifting up a little bit high coming out of turn number 4, crossing the start-finish line. But right now, Kavaja Holt, as the Sugarland song, I think it's Sugarland, he is stuck like glue. Whoa, whoa. As he now gets underneath Dalton Mobley, he's going to knife his way right here as we go down the Nellis straightaway. Of course, this racetrack sits right next to the Nellis Air Force Base. And, oh, they nearly make contact as Dalton and Kabaja are going at it. They are not willing to give each other any room whatsoever as they nearly had a disaster.
That was your check your shorts moment of the stage.
Fender to fender, they go down the backstretch one more time. As we look a little bit further, there's a third group that has formed itself up, and this is the rest of the field, 23rd through about 32nd. Richard Pruitt and Chris Claude. Now, I've said this every week, and I mean this sincerely. Chris Claude may be back here in 24th right now. He's up 9 positions from where he had started, so obviously he grabbed a little bit of real estate on his way through the field. That's not a bad thing. However, you're going to see him, as this race develops, move his way further and further up the chain. He's going to keep hitting those marks. He's going to continue, to work on this and get up. We're going to see him in the top 20, top 15.
Oh, for sure. So, we're watching Chris Claude there in at number 10. How did Ty Gibbs do in this cup race today? I know he's up. I know he's P6 when I stopped watching. Unfortunately.
Wrong guy.
Nonetheless.
Right church, wrong pew.
Hey, one can try,
As
right?
we go back up here to Bobby Anderson, where the fight is still hot and heavy for this race lead. He is now side by side once again with Bobby Anderson. Patrick Gitter now getting around Anderson as he decides he's going to be the leader for a little while. That doesn't seem to make Anderson very happy at all, as he is going to suddenly climb in here. As we ride along with the gyro cam, we can see Anderson's not really fighting the car. He's got it set pretty well toward the middle. Doesn't look too loose, doesn't look too tight. He is going to be just fine.
Just stay okay here. So, next week we go to Phoenix Raceway, and then I believe we go to our first short track after that. If I'm not wrong.
Well, and unfortunately, next Sunday night I will not be alongside of you, as folks, I'm going to be taking the first vacation of the season off, as it's spring training time for the Philadelphia Phillies. So yours truly will be in sunny Florida. I've been told that I say the word Florida wrong, so I used to say Florida, and I guess I say it wrong. I don't know. So now I've tried to shorten it up to Florida. I don't want to go to New York and say Florida. We went to Florida.
But you got to.
I feel more comfortable saying Florida. I guess. I mean, I'm 6% Hebrew, so.
Hey, don't change for it.
That's
don't change for anybody.
Ancestry.com told me.
Wait, who are they playing next weekend?
Oh my goodness, I got all kinds of baseball coming up. You don't want me to start that one. I will be in Clearwater on Saturday to watch the Blue Jays take on the Phillies. Probably going to see the Braves at some point, so tip of the cap to Chris Claude. I still hate the Braves.
But it's spring training, so it doesn't count.
It doesn't count, but I still hate it. I made a point last year, though, and I hope he's listening. Chris Claude, in fact, let's go take a look at old Chris, since things are kind of quiet around the ranch here. Chris Claude, driver of the number 10, chief cook and bottle washer in the Stacy Strong Cup Series from Fairview, Tennessee. One of those people that grew up with the superstation of TBS. Of course, Ted Turner owned the Braves at that point, so basically if you were anywhere in the world, you could watch the Braves. And Chris and I, Chris gets a little loose there. Chris and I have had many conversations regarding the fact that the Atlanta Braves ruined my life through the 90s. So last year I made a point when I was down in Port Charlotte, which is where we stay, to go to the Braves' winter home, or spring home, if you will, in Port Charlotte. Fantastic facility. I mean, just, it looks incredible. It feels like the kind of place where championships are born, and unfortunately those championships are hoisted by the Braves. But anyway, I made sure to send those pictures to him, especially right alongside my least favorite Brave of all time, Chipper Jones, who was a Philly killer. Maddox was a Philly killer. Jones was a Philly killer. It just, and it hurt me to be there, but I wanted to make sure that Chris got a catch of that one.
Well, if you're going to be there on Monday, March 11th, you're going to see the Yankees and the Phillies.
I will be in town with them.
And then Tuesday, well, they're off on Tuesday. No, wait. I take that back. Yeah, they're off on Tuesday. Then
Schedule, my dad's got it all figured out. I'm just going for the
along for the ride.
No, I'm going for the beer. They got beer there. Lots of it.
But nonetheless, my beloved Cardinals did not win today. Nor did they win yesterday. And you're going to hate the Braves even more when I tell you they lost by 1 run today.
Yeah, well, it is what it is.
It's spring training.
Maybe they're getting a massive bus crash somewhere down in Florida. End the season early. Patrick Gitter, our race leader. He's got about a 0.2 of a second lead over Derek Heitman here. As we work lap number 33, we're just a little bit more than halfway through stage, just a little bit less than halfway through stage 1 as we're working our way toward lap number 80. We are going to start seeing those lap times peel off a little, as Gitter right now just ran a 30.59. His best time was a 29.69, so he's all but 9/10 of a second slower than his fastest lap, which means he's obviously starting to see some tire wear here. And just doing some little basic math, if you will.
Are we doing Philadelphia math or St. Louis math?
Well, it's questionable, but they can get if they wanted to use all nine sets of tires, it works its way out to about 29 laps per set. So that being said, if you're going to get yourself, tires 35 to 40 is safe. 40 to 45 is I'm really pushing it and trying to use up this fuel, which looks like that's what Gitter's doing now, because now he's running a 30.65, so he's 0.04 of a second off of being a full second down. As he's being challenged now by Derek Heitman, who's just about matching him step for step. We'll take a look here at the time delta. And you can see Heitman and Gitter matching one another just about step for step. We'll look at his lap times here. Heitman gets a little bit fast, and then he backs it off. A little bit fast, then he backs it off. So as we come around here for lap number 36, as he crosses lap 36, he lays down a 30.636, which is still 0.04 of a second faster. So he still has an arrow pointing upward, albeit not a very steep incline.
Not a very steep incline at all, and these guys are, like I said, they're just out there making laps right now. That's all you can do. No one's really trying to push the envelope here. We're just a little under halfway here in stage 1. I mean, we're 30 laps in. We're almost 40 laps in. There's no reason to.
Well, Matt Mettler already in danger of going down a lap as stage 1 is just about halfway over. Matt Mettler has a distance, as it's all shuffling around, of about 23 seconds. So he's about 7 seconds ahead of where Gitter is. So, maybe over these next several laps we're going to see what is going on with the time delta. Why are all these drivers shifting around on my timing screen? So we may start to see there is some goofy stuff going on. There must be somebody with a connection issue.
Well, I don't think it's me this week. Lap 39. The only one not having a connection issue right now is Patrick Gitter, as he is connecting his way to the front of the line. And, Dave mentioned earlier, he was closing in on Matt Mettler there to get ready to put him a lap down. And, Mettler, I would assume would, scooch out of the way and get that lucky dog, once the caution comes out here. So we're guaranteed at least 2 cautions in this race. And it looks like Derek Heitman's almost going to challenge for the lead. We got green flag pit stop.
Heitman deciding that it's time to come down. He and Gitter coming down together. So obviously now we know 41 laps. So the original calculation was just about right, 35.
Yeah, that wasn't the St. Louis math.
The 76 cannot get any closer to the rear end there of the 21 as they pull in. All of a sudden, we're going to see the right side go up. I can't imagine what their tire wear must be because they were definitely out here matching one another step for step. As it looks like Caston and DiCianni are coming down pit road. Gitter, Heitman, Coley Collie, Skip Candy, Anthony Salvignano, Brian Tarnowski, and Randall Watkins all down pit road as Watkins about to drop it and go. Bobby Anderson up to the race lead. Somebody definitely has a connection issue because I'm watching things shuffle around like we're over at the Four Queens.
The Four Queens. Here comes Bobby Anderson.
It's a house of gambling. That's what they do here in Las Vegas. Also, if you're in the Las Vegas area and you haven't done so already, a caution comes out. Oh, that's going to trap some guys down. Oh. Let's see what happened. Looks like maybe Sean Kelly involved in this one. Let's take a look. As Sean Kelly disappears from my race screen. That's fun. Sean Kelly completely disappeared from the race screen. I'm not sure what happened, but it sounds like he's taking ownership for it. Hey. Well, our first caution tonight comes from a Phantom.
You remember the debris caution?
Could have been debris. Could have been debris. But what that does right now, and it does trap some of these guys down a lap for the time being. But, Mark Johnston, Hank Caston, Alex Princeton, Derek Heitman, Patrick Gitter, Sean Rogers, Matt DiCianni, and so on, they all were just down for pit service while all of this was going on. So while Nolan Hodgson, Chris Davis, Chad Sander, and Ethan Eckert all come down pit road for their scheduled service, they're at least going to get to do it under caution. It's a little less treacherous.
A little less treacherous, and no, you gotta want to come down pit road under caution. So you got 45 laps on your tires, so you're about right on the money as far as the pit window. It looks like Ron Fitting's going to be the beneficiary under that caution.
He may be the beneficiary, but he hasn't come down pit road. Fitting, Anderson, Witt, and Papineau.
They all did come down pit road. Except for Fitting.
That's going to cycle Nolan Hodgson to your race lead. So that's going to be an interesting choice here.
I mean, unless he thinks he's got the tires and the fuel to go all the way to the end of the stage, which I don't think he does.
Well, I guess we'll have to see here shortly as the iRacing.com pace car going to get everybody lined up single file, follow the leader, or at least in this case, the pace car. Still haven't seen Fitting, Witt, or Papineau or Anderson scored on pit road yet. That's weird. I feel like that may be an iRacing error. There goes Fitting.
I think as the caution came out.
They must have been coming down as the caution came out.
And then aborted it.
Which I'll tell you what, that's some heads-up driving from if you're able to get away from the scene of the crime, just as it's coming out, especially you don't want to get an accidental, entering a closed pit road. There you are just minding your business, coming down for some service, and all of a sudden pit road closes as you get on there. But that's going to cycle those drivers to the back. That also will keep Matt Metler on the lead lap. as here he comes off a pit road, and drivers now getting ready to go 2x2 into the arc.
Well, call Noah and tell him to get the door open on the arc, because here comes the field getting lined up 2x2 behind that iRacing.com pace car.
Yeah, 2x2 go the animals, and here they come down the backstretch. These drivers are incredible. I love watching these guys week in and week out. This is home for me. I see Callie H here for Nolan. Matt Campbell cheering on Rogers and Davis. Amanda Price cheering on Rogers. I hear you being big loud. I don't know. Just talk. I have no idea. Jeremiah Mullins.
Say it out loud.
Let me back it down there. Give me a little mic check.
You got me.
Yeah, there we go. Jeremiah, let me know. Jeremiah or Big Mac, let me know.
You know, here's the thing. Is, you know, we keep an eye on the YouTube chat. Is there any Alan or Dave Regal fans out there? Come on. Everybody's going for. What about their favorite commentator?
Why do you want to do that to yourself?
I'm a glutton for punishment. Why?
The racing may be good, but they all come for Dave Regal's voice. The voice of all that's Sunday Night NASCAR.
He says better.
You know,
I actually went.
Going to lead us back to green here, as he's
went
behind the iRacing.com pace car. Nolan Hodgson, Chris Davis, Chad Sander, Ethan Eckert, and Seba Cornez, your top 5. As the pace car going to bring us into turn 3, Alan.
His car's going to bring us into turn 3. Just like the Andre the Giant got body slammed just at WrestleMania 4 in Atlantic City. Nolan Hodgins is looking to body slam the field coming to green. Here we come. iRacing.com pace car off track, making a left-hand turn. And we are down and away as Nolan Hodgson brings us to the restart zone. And he is down and away.
Hodgson drops the hammer, and he gets a pretty good jump over Davis. The thing is, once these drivers start to get themselves wound up, you know, they may be able to catch him. Now, side by side goes the 94 and the 17 as far as he's painted, and the 40 of Ethan Eckert. Nolan Hodgson, though, just hopped out here and decided he's going to go out for a nice Sunday night drive.
It is Sunday night, and he is driving. Chris Davis here in that number 74 car giving chase. Hey, look, one of the 500 has made it up to the top 5. And that's what I like from Chris Davis right there in the front. He is out there doing Chris Davis things right now. So we're about 30 laps.
Just about everybody getting themselves settled in here. Michael Witt about to go side by side with Tanner Marty in the Topps Chevrolet Camaro. Topps, a proud provider of baseball cards everywhere, just saying. And look here, Chris Claude all the way up into 16th now. What did I tell you?
Here we go. Channeling his inner Tiger.
He's really channeling the monster. A big Ty Gibbs fan is Chris Claude, as he's really a Joe Gibbs fan. And you know what? I really respect Joe Gibbs. I think he was a great coach for the Washington football team. See, almost did it. But at the same time, he's also a man of faith, and I appreciate that. Whoa, Chris just comes right into Ron Fitting down below. That's not, ow. My goodness.
But we stay green.
Thank goodness. We're going to see right here what happened with Chris. Just a little nudge there from Chris. But he was a little wild coming out of turn 4. It looks like he's been battling a loose condition on turn 4 exit all night. The thing is, when you come out of one turn and you're a little loose, it gets you to the point where you can't fix just one turn. So you wind up saying, hey, listen, I'm fine in 1 and 2. I'll deal with 4.
Yeah, but so then that messes up your whole rhythm around the racetrack. So if you can't fix it in 4, then you gotta fix it in the next lap. But here we go. We are 2 by 2. Dalton Mobley is saying, let me up there. I want to lead. As he's taking the lead almost. And he's got the number 40 car, Ethan Eckert, pushing him down the back straightaway. Here we go.
Nolan Hodgson in 3rd position right now, trying to creep into 2nd as he tucks down just underneath Ethan Eckert one more time. Fastest lap of the race right now goes to Patrick Gitter back here in the 21 as he is lurking behind Chris Claude in 16th position. Now, Chris, we're not going to see him get too aggressive here, but at the same time, he's certainly not going to, lose a spot due to not being defensive. However, all of a sudden, just in front of him, Papineau comes in, almost throwing an unintentional block, if you really think about it. But Papineau not able to. Papineau just seems to be on turn exit every time as they're nearly 4 wide coming through the tri-oval. 3 wide now. Ron fitting the meat in the sandwich. That has Gitter on the inside now of the 17 of Papineau. So Gitter all of a sudden just marching through the field.
That's going to make these cars really, really light when you start to go 3 to 4 wide, because then you're going to be in turbulent air. Patrick Gitter right there in 21 car. He's down 9 spots. Well, now he's back up down to 8 spots. At any rate, he's down to 13th. He's losing wholesale positions. As they're almost 3 wide going down the back straightaway there.
Patrick Gitter marching his way back up through the field. The next victim about to be Richard Pruitt and the 78 of Michael Witt. As he gets behind Pruitt, Pruitt kind of closes the door for the time being. He's now almost going to give a nudge to Pruitt. I'll tell you what, he kind of looks like a guy who used to drive a black number 3 as he's coming back up through the field, taking it 3 wide with Pruitt on the high side. He's got Ricky Williams on the low and the 78 of Michael Witt in the crosshairs.
We just saw a car scrape the wall there a little bit coming down the back straightaway. I'm not for sure who it was. But anyway, they remain green and ready to go. Patrick Gitter there in that number 21 car. He's up to 11th now. He's starting to march his way back up to the front of the field.
Further back here, Sean Rogers about to serve lunch to Chris Claude. As Claude just going to ride around here. He's pretty much just hanging on. We've got about 22 laps in stage 1. And with those 22 laps, we're going to step aside here and take a break on Sim Racing Media. I'm Dave Regal, he's Alan Bergen, and this is Sunday Night NASCAR.
With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.
Preen Garden Weed Preventer and Preen Garden Weed Preventer Plus Plant Food block weeds before they start and are safe for use around over 400 flowers, vegetables, trees, and shrubs. Best of all, they give you 3 months of freedom from weeding in just 4 easy steps. You can apply Preen anytime before or during the growing season. But since it's a weed preventer, not a weed killer, early spring is best. Here's how. Start by removing existing weeds and their roots in the area where you want to apply Preen. Sprinkle granules directly onto dry soil, mulch, or stone so that they're evenly spaced. Within 24 hours of applying, integrate the granules into the top layer of soil or mulch or stone-covered bed. Finally, water with a hose or sprinkler, or a well-timed soaking rain to activate the protective weed barrier. When activated, Preen creates an invisible weed-fighting barrier just below the soil surface that targets and prevents weed seeds from sprouting and forming roots. People and pets may enter the treated area once dusts have settled and the area is thoroughly dry from watering or first rain. That's it. Now you'll have a beautiful weed-free space and 3 months to do anything but weeding. Satisfaction guaranteed. Trusted for over 50 years, Preen is America's #1 weed preventer brand with weed preventers for every type of garden.
My name is Leon Kyles. I'm a prostate cancer survivor. I have 2 adult children, 134, 125, and a wife. And I'm glad to be here today. When I got the initial news of my prostate cancer, it was devastating because I got a phone call from my doctor late in the evening, and I was wondering why he was calling, so I put it on speakerphone, and me and my wife was sitting there watching the movie, and he just came straight out and said, "You got cancer." You know, the first thing that went through my mind was, man, am I gonna make it? So I had a lot of different thoughts going through my mind. You know, I didn't know if I was gonna be able to survive. You know, what was going to happen with my wife, my kids. And, you know, I felt hurt, a lot of pain. Through 211, actually. They gave me the number to Trisha Hope, and which was a great thing because Trisha Hope has been very helpful throughout my process of going through my cancer, going through my surgery. Now it's in remission. I don't have it anymore, no diagnosis. And she really helped me with some bills and stuff like that with a grant that I appreciate very much. She helped me out. Also gave me some referrals to some agencies that could help me out in my city in Anderson. We had at least, you know, probably over the last few months, at least about 6 or 7 conversations where, you know, she would always have an encouraging word to say, always, you know, telling me to be thankful, you know, and just live your life to the fullest, and them the things I've been doing. Anybody that may be experiencing cancer in any shape, form, or fashion, trust God. You have to be patient. You have to make go to your doctor's appointments, and then just, you know, live your life to the full extent. Enjoy yourself, and just keep moving forward because God is there for you. This program is to help cancer patients, and you know, the donations would be gratefully appreciated because they go through a lot of things and they have a lot of doctor's appointments, a lot of bills, things that, you know, they can't take care of anymore because of the job situation, leave of absences. Some people never go back to work. Some people are going through chemo and they need a helping hand. So if you could donate anything to help the Trisha Hope Foundation, it would be greatly appreciated.
Basket can't defend. He's got the outside line for the second part, and he can't hold on.
Going the long way around. We're going to be 3 wide for the lead as they all come to the line. Who is going to take it in the end?
And here comes Lockwood. He's going to make the move to the outside. Quinn tries to force it off a little bit, but there he goes. It's going to be side by side through turn 1.
Will he be able to cover him off? He does. Weaving back to the left-hand side. Reynolds is trying everything. The kitchen sink is being thrown at it.
They're leaning on each other. Coming into turn number 3. It's going to be a drag race through 3 and 4. Coming back to the line. Here comes Trish on the bottom.
Richard's going to hold the inside. Tries to be the late breaker here. They're going to be side by side through the final chicane. They bang doors, but keep it clean.
As they're still 4 wide on the run down into the back straightaway. Demerit's looking for a line as well. What is going on in Michigan?
No back into the fence. They're still beating and banging.
Oh my
and to the line.
He is much faster coming through there. Is there damage on Challenger? Abramitis is ahead. There's going to be a race to the line. Who is going to get it?
The most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic, real world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $400,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back to Las Vegas Motor Speedway, where Ethan Eckert has jumped himself out to a 1.05 second lead over Chad Sanner. Chad Sanner and Dalton Mobley as they're exchanging paint back here. 72 laps in the books. We're working our way toward lap number 80. We went away and a caution came out for debris on the track, so no need to come back and break it down. And we came back just in time to watch the final laps here of stage number 1. Dave Riegel and Alan Bergen with you here in the Tony Trapassa Memorial Broadcast booth just outside the city of brotherly love, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, as Eckert now is leading by 0.92 seconds. Another hot battle back here as they were just 3 wide a second ago, Alan. Matt DiCianni, Bobby Anderson, and Chad Sanner are now 3 wide again.
Yeah, these guys are 3 wide here. They've been 3 wide for a little while now, I'm sure. As something's got to give here with DiCianni and, Anderson and Gitter there. Those were some, Bobby Anderson and Gitter were actually started on the front row. So, those guys are working their way up there. They're being real patient as we are about, 15-ish laps away from, or actually about 5 laps away from the stage. That's the St. Louis math kicking in. Noah Hamilton there on the outside there, that 84 car, 84 Toyota there.
Noah Hamilton giving a bump to the 59 of Seba Cornez and now gets underneath him. That was a pretty gutsy move from the 84 with 5 to go here in stage number 1. They are side by side in front of him. The 44 of Sean Rogers working just underneath the 84 now. You see the 29 of Tanner Marty as the 44 nearly makes contact with the 84. That's Sean Rogers and Noah Hamilton. Looks like tempers may be flaring as those three drivers have gotten themselves together here. Chris Claude has now faded all the way back into 30th position. Not sure if he didn't get a good restart. But he and Chris Custer looks like Matt Metler back in 29th as well.
Hey, Matt's doing pretty good right now. He's back there. And Matt Metler's back there, you know, just making the laps there in the 30th position. He started deep in the field, so I would love to see Matt just run all the laps tonight, stay out of trouble, bring the car home in one piece.
I'll tell you what, I'm watching the 84 here of Noah Hamilton, and he's starting to get a little wild here on 78. He's got the 21 of Patrick Gitter in the crosshairs as he comes high, rubs the wall coming out of turn 2, and now, whoa, there he goes!
Whoa! That's that Colorado Springs, Colorado air getting to him there. He's got a little bit loose.
We're going to take a look here and see what happened as he was rubbing the wall. Oh, he got, whoa! Tanner Marty got into him. He manages to keep it moving forward, though. My goodness.
Just like the Toyota
commercial. Disastrous. Matt DiCianni, now your race leader, as he makes the pass on Derek Heitman for the lead. Heitman now starts to exchange that position with him as they are side by side, wheel to wheel, coming out of turn number 4 here on 79. Remember, we have to get to the end of lap number 80 before the caution flag will fly. Right now, Matt DiCianni, your race leader, as he is battling it out now with Derek Heitman, who gets the edge going into turn 1. Heitman, however, he's got to be able to hold that position on exit, and every time DiCianni's beating him out. So it just seems like Heitman may not be in the proper position, as now DiCianni going to get an even bigger run on exit here out of 4 as they come back to the start-finish line. Side by side they go, DiCianni and Heitman. Who's it going to be? It's going to be DiCianni. Going to bring home the green and white checkered flag. He's followed by Derek Heitman, Chris Davis, Bobby Anderson, Ethan Eckert, Nolan Hodgson, Dalton Mobley, Chad Sander, Patrick Gitter, and Seba Cornez all going to be awarded bonus points here at the end of stage number 1.
Those stage points are really, really huge, especially in this series, because if you have you have a bad race, that's why if you have a bad race, you got to kind of, make the best of a bad situation, if you will.
Going to have a chance right now to chat with our stage winner, Matt DiCianni. Hey, Matt, it's Dave up in the broadcast booth. You got me?
Yeah, I got you.
Matt, is that DiCianni or DiCianni?
DiCianni.
All right, fair enough. Matt DiCianni, you won stage number 1 here. You were duking it out with Derek Heitman at the very end. Take us through this stage as you get cooled down here.
Yeah, we just decided to come grab tires just to try to get some stage points because we kind of got screwed on that yellow during the pit cycle. So just a way to get track position back.
And track position you got back for sure. You started back in 20th position and have battled your way up here into the lead. What's going to be your focus here for stage 2? Any adjustments, or are we just going to keep rolling the dice here in Las Vegas?
We'll keep rolling for now. Once the track starts revving up, we'll start making some adjustments.
All right, man. Well, listen, congratulations on the stage win. Go ahead, get 4 tires and a tank of Go Fast. We'll see you on the other side.
All right, sounds good. Thanks.
That was the voice of Matt DiCianni, driver of the number 14 Apex Design Chevrolet Camaro, as he comes in for pit service. Alan, what an exciting stage number 1.
Exciting stage number 1, saw a lot of action. That was an absolute slugfest. So stage 2 is going to be anything like stage 1. These guys are in for a real treat.
Absolutely. As Chris Davis still sits on pit road, he finally gets himself rolled out. Everybody coming down this time around. So everybody going to be back on the same pit cycle as we come out of the stage break. That's one of the things that's interesting about stage racing as we take a look at Derek Heitman here in the 76. you know, it gives everybody a level playing field at least through those first 2 stages.
You know, look, I'll be real honest with you. Dave. Whenever they announced way back in the day that they were doing a stage racing, I was actually kind of skeptical. But if you think about it, in the grand scheme of things, really nothing new, because they've been doing it in the All-Star race for years.
Well, and that's true. And I mean, stage racing has been a staple in short track and dirt racing for decades. So, you know, for a lot of these drivers, it's nothing too new. If anything, it gives an interesting level of competition to each of these drivers. I mean, you know, we've seen coming out of a rain delay or you know, a rain shortened race or a postponed race, oh, we're going to have a competition caution at lap 20 or whatever it happens to be. You know, and that's fine, but really what it does is now it just adds extra stage break in there.
Yeah, and you know, I think it makes it more exciting for the fans. I know it makes it exciting for the drivers, but the one thing I do miss is actually having practice in a real life side. Is the practice that they used to get. But I mean, they used to go out and practice for what, a whole day on Friday and an hour on Saturday.
Well, a lot of teams have figured out, you know, let's tip our cap to iRacing. A lot of teams have figured out how to master the sim time. You know, a lot of these drivers have the sim at home. They've got, you know, of course, the manufacturer simulators in their race shops and things like that. So there's a lot more sim practice that goes on rather than physical on track practice. And that can do a couple of different things, especially to these cars that are so light and fragile, so to speak. You know, these cars are now designed to basically peel away when they're under stress, you know, in a wreck. And you don't want to go out and practice and wreck it, kind of like the 22 did back in October at Homestead. I remember walking through the garage area, and there was Joey Logano's car, the backup car, getting its new stickers and skin on it, you know. And there you were in practice and just happened to wreck. And that, for lack of a better term, that sucks.
Yes, it does.
I don't like Joey Logano, but I don't like to see any driver wreck during practice and ruin their whole weekend.
Well, the only car that isn't wrecked right now is Derek Hyman in that number 76 car. But he is, you know, wrecking this race right now. They're on lap number 85. We are doubled up, and he is on the inside. He chose the inside. And that, of course, Matt Iciani is outside there. I've been practicing my one-liners all day. Besides the fact.
Well, if you're going to work with me, you got to know them.
Right, don't stumble. Anyway.
As we come into turn number 3, Derek Heitman going to be on the front row here along with Matt DiCiani, Ethan Ecker, Chris Davis, Bobby Anderson, Nolan Hodgson, Dalton Mobley, Patrick Gitter, Seba Cornez, and Chad Sander, your top 10, the iRacing.com pace car, getting ready to dive down pit road. As we get stage number 2 ready to go, the man in the stand has the green flag in his hand. Derek Heitman brings the field down into the tri-oval, enters the Geico restart zone, drops the hammer, and here we go.
Drops the hammer, he does. And he's the only one worthy of the front row right now. He has picked up the hammer of Thor, and he is down and away there in the turn number 1. Off to a good, sizable, almost half-second lead.
Watching these cars thunder down onto the backstretch, getting themselves up to speed as we come here into turn 3. Everybody trying to keep themselves in line as we see them come out of turn 4. Derek Heitman going to be your race leader as we begin stage number 2 here on lap number 87. It's going to go Heitman, DiCiani, and Eckert, your top 3. Everybody running really close to one another. Chris Custer here in the 66. He's being challenged right now by the 24 of Richard Pruitt and the 44 of Sean Rogers. Ron Fitting pestering him from behind, but nothing doing yet. As we take a look at the YouTube.com live chat, looks like RJ Root. Well, RJ, reach out to me. We'll talk. I get it. I understand. Tyler Sexton saying, let's go Ron number 3. Ramon Pedraza Ochoa. Vamos. Joey Logano a ganar.
I'm going to get my 7-year-old. He knows Spanish.
Yeah, you're going to have to do that because I can't.
Oh, man.
Joe Stafford, pride of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, cheering on Nolan Hodgson in the 12. As we take a look here, all of a sudden, Alex Princeton being followed now by Tanner Marty as Princeton starts to make his drive back forward through the field. He's up 15 slots now in 14th as he started back in 29th. He's got the 56 of Cody Colley just ahead of him now. Colley looks to the inside of Chad Sanner in the 94, painted as the 17 tonight. Sanner out of Smithfield, Pennsylvania. The 2021 SNN Daytona 250 winner. Leads Cody Colley by about 0.2 of a second. We look a little bit further into the field and we see Chris Custer out of Ohio. I believe it's Ohio. Yep. Chris Custer here in the 66. You know, I've said this before, and maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like Chris Custer is onto something here. He's got this Coca-Cola paint scheme. Okay, cherry Coca-Cola, whatever. But either way, he's got a Coca-Cola paint scheme. We've got the Coke family of drivers, but we need just a regular Coca-Cola driver. Somebody with that paint scheme because, first of all, that red and white would really pop on the racetrack. Second of all, who doesn't love a good Coke in the hot summer sun while you're sitting here in Las Vegas?
I would, I'm not a Coke guy. Well, I stopped drinking soda last year.
All right, that's fair. Diabetes wins.
Let's go Shall We Win is the first one. Thank you, Google.
Matt DeCiani and Derek Heitman go side by side for the lead once again as DeCiani has that high line figured out right now. And what he's doing up there is kind of keeping those tires cool. He's not really beating the heck out of his equipment. And it looks like he's going to bring Ethan Eckert along with him. He suddenly drops down right in front of Ethan Eckert. I'm sorry, right in front of Heitman in the 76. So now DeCiani a race leader, and he's going to have Ethan Eckert slide in behind him. Now DeCiani's going to start to be able to make some hay here as he's going to have use of the whole track, not just the high line. But he absolutely has the high line figured out, so buyer beware for anybody that's going to try to chase Matt down as we work lap number 94 on our way to 165 for stage number 2.
Okay, and then the second one says, in which position is Joey Logano in? Yeah, what position is Joey Logano in? Thank you, Google Translate.
Ethan Eckert chasing down Matt DeCiani for the race lead here on lap number 95. We're looking back here now at Seba Cornez as Seba is going to be on the high side of Bobby Anderson. Anderson started this race up on the front row in second position. He's now back here in sixth, battling his way out with Seba Cornez. And here's the thing with Seba. This is a driver that I've watched develop over the last number of years here in the Stacy Strong Sunday Night NASCAR Cup Series. And, Seba is someone who a few years ago was dangerous to be around but fast. Now he's someone comfortable to be around and fast. So that makes that level of driving even more exciting to watch. And of course, the Stacy Strong Cup Series is brought to you by Tricious Hope, and Tricious Hope believes in healthcare and support for all persons. Their mission is to provide emotional and financial support to cancer patients in treatment. Tricious Hope holds a special place in our heart here at Sim Racing Media and in the Sunday Night NASCAR family of racing series, as they have been a part of the supporting framework around Brian Tarnowski and his late wife Stacy, for whom this league is named. They have been with Brian and Stacy throughout their journey and now beyond. To support Tricious Hope, please visit tricioushope.com/give-help today, because tomorrow might not be soon enough. And I cannot stress that enough, that Trisha's Hope has been a major part of this league. In fact, it's one of the things that brought me together with my former broadcast partner, Tony Trapasso, and Waukesha, Wisconsin's very own Brian Tarnowski still sports the Trisha's Hope paint scheme. And I remember when Brian's wife Stacy was going through her cancer treatment, when she was nearing the end of her time here on Earth, and the first person who jumped up and said we need to do something when I was talking about it in the SRM chat was Tony. And we were able to put together, with the help of Bob Nestor, a really great fundraiser race for Brian and Stacy. And Stacy used to be a weekly viewer here in the youtube.com live chat. And I know Brian misses her. I know that we miss her here at SRM. But at the same time, we all have Stacy in our hearts as we do race in the S&N Cup Series, brought to you by Stacy Strong and Trisha's Hope.
And that's the thing, too, Dave, as a racer, I also, every October, I do the painted cars. I paint the cars pink, and man, it sucks. It really does. But keep the fight up and keep the fight going, and who knows? Hopefully they find
caution comes out. I hate to cut you off there. I'm not sure where it was. I'm waiting for timing and scoring to call this one out. Looks like it may have been Anthony Savignano. Wow. Savignano. As it looks like he's missing the front right wheel from that machine.
If anybody wants
3 wide as he's between the 17 and the 80. A little bit of net code off of the 80 of Mark Johnston, and boom went the proverbial dynamite. Let's just see if we can run that back one more time here from the nose of Anthony Savignano.
Definitely.
Oh. And one final time, I just want to see this from as close as I can possibly get. As of course right now timing and scoring is going completely batty as everyone gets themselves settled out. We're going to go one more time to that replay. Now we're going to see that Savignano doesn't once make contact with the 80, but that's net code that drew them together. Everybody's blinking. My goodness. What is going on?
Looks like
right now
Chris
I can't
Davis.
see anything. I'm having all kinds of connection issues.
Looks like Chris Davis is going to win the race off pit road there. Actually, scratch that. That's going to be Mr. Pruitt that wins the race off the pit road.
While we wait for the connection here with the iRacing.com server to settle out, I'm not sure what caused that. That's better.
Ish.
That's interesting. I've never seen that happen before at a place this small. Well, there's a first time for everything. Glad that you saw it first right here on Sim Racing Media. Going to be Chris Davis when we go back Green Flag Racing, along with Matt DiCiani, Ethan Eckert, Derek Heitman, Patrick Gitter, Bobby Anderson, Hank Caston, Nolan Hodgson, Kavaja Holt, and Cody Colley.
They're starting to get doubled up here.
That's a good way to restart. Last I checked. Now, pace car lights are going to stay on.
Matt DiCiani, I think he's got to catch up there to Chris Davis. Or they're trying to get themselves sorted out.
Fourth caution of the night, third for cause here on lap 104, after Anthony Savignano was the victim of some vicious net code off of the 80. So we're going to have to see what happens moving forward with those two drivers.
That was karma, Dave.
Stranger things.
You hear? So I want to peel back the curtain, and you had to know this was gonna come. So I had a distinct pleasure watching back the next gen Racers Elite race. We had some fun. They had more fun though. As you know, as he got the poke fun a little bit. That's all good. But he got the poke fun, I think. Just a little bit. He kept it classy.
Car's getting ready to double back up here behind the iRacing.com pace car as we take a peek at the YouTube.com live chat. Big Mac cheering on "Go Ethan Ball!" Woo! And PDS International, this charter system sucks. That's what it says. Not me. That's PDS International. I read what they write.
Well, RJ Root, PDS International, after the race, come tell Dave about it.
Seems like a few people are discontented with the charter system. Quite frankly, we don't control it. It's going to be Chris Davis and Matt DiCiani on the front row. DiCiani already up here on the high side, so we know that we're going to see him kind of slingshot his way around the track, especially with 60 laps to go now. So everybody coming down on lap 102 with the exception of Matt Metler, who chose to stay out for reasons I can't quite explain. Perhaps he's hitting the chicken cock whiskey just a little bit too hard down there in Florida.
We need a soundbite.
Matt Metler loves the chicken cock whiskey.
There it is.
Chris Davis drops the hammer and we're back underway. He gets a good jump over Matt DiCiani. But DiCiani has proved already that he can get around the top side of this track. He's being pushed along by Derek Heitman as we get back underway here. Heitman now kind of backs off and allows some space for Ethan Eckert now in the 40. Menard's Ford Mustang.
We done did it now, causing a debate in the YouTube chat about the charter system.
That's all right. That's what we're here for.
Hey.
I'm here because I can.
Don't hate the game.
It helps pay for the broadcast. Believe you me.
Look, you're going to get bit
Whoa,
by
Luce gets the 29.
The 29 gets Luce. But look,
that's going to be Chris Davis. That opens up the door for Ethan Eckert. Now Matt DiCiani, as Chris Davis got loose just a second ago, that again is going to allow Patrick Gitter now to crawl up into the top 3. So we have our usual suspects here in the Stacy Strong Sunday Night NASCAR Cup Series, live here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway, the Sin City, Clark County, Nevada, whatever. Tomato,
no, you're right.
Tomato. It's all hot and dry.
It's a dry heat.
It's a dry heat.
Hey, I would love to go anywhere. I would love to go anywhere where during the summer months humidity does not smack you in the face.
I'm a big dude. Heat and humidity and I are not friends. Oh, Chris Davis nearly making contact with the 38 of Hank Caston. Now Cody Colley in the Nationwide Chevrolet Camaro. He gets just ahead of Hank Caston. He's suddenly going to make this high side work as he is all of a sudden blasting the doors off of Heitman.
I'm telling you, the high side's going to come in.
Oh, the high side is coming in strong.
I think Cody's the only one out there hustling the high side right now. How's it feel up there? Whoa, they're about 4 or 5 wide there, coming down the back straightaway.
They heard there was a giveaway on real estate as we work. There we are, 3 wide. That's the 12 of Nolan Hodgson right in the middle of that little mess.
Oh, there you go.
There they go.
Your card around.
And of course, at that moment, we decide to have a connection crisis. I'm going to have to do something about this.
I'm going to angry spacebar iRacing. We are under caution for the 5th time and a 4th time for cause.
While they go under caution here, I'm going to make some adjustments to the graphics. You're watching Sim Racing Media here on YouTube.com. Dave Regal and Alan Bergen. We'll be right back after these messages.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
The most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic real world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $400,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
Masker can't defend. He's got the outside line for the second part, and he can't hold on.
Going the long way around. We're going to be 3 wide for the lead as they all come to the line. Who is going to take it in the end?
And here comes Lockwood. He's going to make the move to the outside. Quinn tries to force him off a little bit, but there he goes. It's going to be side by side through turn 1.
Will he be able to cover him off? He does. Weaving back to the left-hand side. Reynolds is trying everything. The kitchen sink is being thrown at it.
They're leaning on each other. Coming into turn number 3. It's going to be a drag race through 3 and 4. Coming back to the line. Here comes Trish on the bottom.
Richard's going to hold the inside. Tries to be the late breaker here. They're going to be side by side through the final chicane. They bang doors, but keep it clean.
A as they're still 4 wide on the run down into the back straightaway. Demerit's looking for a line as well. What is going on in Michigan?
Novak into the fence. They're still beating and banging.
Oh
and to the line.
He is much faster coming through there. Is there damage on Challenger? Abramitis is ahead. There's going to be a race to the line. Who is going to get it?
My name is Leon Kyles. I'm a prostate cancer survivor. I have 2 adult children, 134, 125, and a wife. And I'm glad to be here today. When I got the initial news of my prostate cancer, it was devastating because I got a phone call from my doctor late in the evening, and I was wondering why he was calling, so I put it on speakerphone, and me and my wife was sitting there watching the movie, and he just came straight out and said, "You got cancer." You know, the first thing that went through my mind was, man, am I gonna make it? So I had a lot of different thoughts going through my mind. You know, I didn't know if I was gonna be able to survive. You know, what was going to happen with my wife, my kids. And, you know, I felt hurt, a lot of pain. Through 211, actually, they gave me the number to Trisha Hope, and which was a great thing because Trisha Hope has been very helpful throughout my process of going through my cancer, going through my surgery. Now it's in remission. I don't have it anymore, no diagnosis. And she really helped me with some bills and stuff like that with a grant that I appreciate very much. She helped me out. Also gave me some referrals to some agencies that could help me out in my city in Anderson. We had at least, you know, probably over the last few months, at least about 6 or 7 conversations where, you know, she would always have an encouraging word to say, always, you know, telling me to be thankful, you know, and just live your life to the fullest, and them the things I've been doing. Anybody that may be experiencing cancer in any shape, form, or fashion, trust God. You have to be patient. You have to make go to your doctor's appointments, and then just, you know, live your life to the full extent. Enjoy yourself, and just keep moving forward because God is there for you. This program is to help cancer patients, and you know, the donations would be gratefully appreciated because they go through a lot of things and they have a lot of doctor's appointments, a lot of bills, things that, you know, they can't take care of anymore because of the job situation, leave of absences. Some people never go back to work. Some people are going through chemo and they need a helping hand. So if you could donate anything to help the Trisha Hope Foundation, it would be greatly appreciated.
Welcome back to Las Vegas Motor Speedway. You'll have to forgive us as we were dealing with some technical difficulties trying to get the graphics and the connection to stabilize itself. Derek Heitman is your race leader here on lap number 121 as we're working our way toward lap 165 to the conclusion of stage number 2. We've seen some exciting racing thus far. We've seen a couple of cautions come out, one due to net code, some others that were just, you know, haphazard racing. But right now, the greatest thing going on the racetrack is the competition itself. Randy Belk is in the middle of a little bit of a hornet's nest here as we see him in the 50 being passed now by Seba Cornez and Tanner Marty on the high side. So that high line, as you were talking about, Alan, is finally starting to come in.
Yeah, so we're going to start seeing some, you know, 2 and 3 wide racing here. But you're going to see that second lane really develop here in the late stages of this race. So I want you to keep an eye on that. As you know, it's kind of weird right now that we have two distinct packs. This is something that you normally see at a super speedway, not so much a mile and a half.
Well, we see that here at Las Vegas, and you know, the thing is, at this stage in the race, not everybody's really got the heat turned all the way up. Of course, I say that as Alexander Gangler is now passing Ron Fitting on the low side. But, you know, a lot of these drivers, they don't want to beat their equipment up too soon, so they are keeping themselves well distanced as Matt Gaskins is the tail end of this first group, and then Brian Tarnowski leads the second group, and that goes all the way back to Matt Mackin here in 28th. So there's a lot of distance here, 3 distinct packs as you had noticed, Alan, and right now Derek Heitman is the leader of the pack that matters. That's P1 as he leads Patrick Ginter and Matt DiCianni. Of course, DiCianni brings home the green and white checkered flag at stage 1. He's looking to repeat that here in stage 2. We're going to find out in just about 40 laps if he can do that all over again.
Hey, look, you know, repeat what you did. So, win stage, repeat, win stage, repeat. So, you know, he's looking to have a repeat kind of day. You catch my drift.
That I do, sir, as Heitman passes the start-finish line here on 126. These top 9 cars all separated by just about 1.2 seconds, as Alex Brinson kind of hanging out back here on his own. And I got to be honest, he's probably not in a bad situation here. You know, it gives him a little bit of reaction time in case bad things are to happen just in front of him. You know, you don't want to be right up there in the action, but at the same time, you want to be able to pounce when the moment is right.
Yeah, you just want to be waiting in the wings and really just wait it out, not really make any hasty moves just yet. And, you know, like I said, just really not be too hasty. Minnesota.
Matt Gaskins here in the 79 now being challenged by Brinson. As we work lap 128. We can see these drivers starting to get themselves a little bit feisty here with just under 40 to go. Everybody came down last on lap 102. So let's take a look at our pit strategy window here. Everybody with 26 laps on those tires. They can pretty much go another 15 laps before it really becomes a factor here as far as grip is concerned. And, you know, at this confluence, I would say that they all kind of try to come together.
At the confluence, yes. They will probably all try to come together. You know, just looking at the schedule here, down the line here. So next week we go to the desert there in Phoenix, Arizona. Or Phoenix Raceway in Avondale, Arizona. Then Sunday, March 17th, we go to short track racing.
Ooh.
At Bristol.
Michael Witt just is about to double doink himself. Let's see if we can... Oh. Rips the car apart. He stays forward. Oh! And he catches the 62 as he disappears off the racetrack. Yee. The 62 of John Wilco out of McAdoo, Pennsylvania. They keep it down on the apron, so that keeps us green flag racing here on lap 131.
But we stay green.
Heitman, Gitter, and DiCianni. Gitter has worked his way into P2 now. He started in 3rd position. Biggest movers of the night so far are Randy Belk and Timothy Cook. As Timothy Cook up 36 positions running in 12th right now. So he started back in 38th. I'm starting to see some connection blinking again, but this time it's isolated. So I think we fixed the problem on our end.
Looks good so far. It's Derek Heitman there. He's in that 76 car. And I mean, we're over halfway through with the stage here. It's Patrick Gitter right hot on his tail. And so is Matt DiCianni. But right there in the 4th position, he's up 12th spot, and that's Chad Sander in that 94 car. 94, or time of 4 at least. And the eyeball test shows that he's about a half second back from Matt DiCianni there. And Sander and Rogers go side by side there. Who's going to have the advantage?
And taking a look at Chris Davis just underneath Dalton Mobley here in the deuce. Mobley has a rear view mirror full of Tanner Marty right now. And Chris Davis is looking back in the rear view at Bobby Anderson. Now, Anderson started on the front row. He has gone the wrong direction today. In fact, most of these drivers that we see right now are on the plus side. But Chris Davis, Bobby Anderson, Matt Mackin, Ethan Ball, and Noah Hamilton have all gone in orange on our screens, which means that they've gone backwards in the standings. So kind of a rough start for those drivers in the first 2 stages. But believe me, they still have plenty of time to go with about 132 laps to go before we see that final checkered flag wave.
Yeah, still a long way to go. Still a long time to get there. As we're watching Chris Davis there, trying to do Chris Davis thing. He's going the wrong way. He needs to go back the other way. The other way, though.
Kay Meyer in the YouTube.com live chat saying, number 56, keep pushing hard, baby. I'll be watching for that victory donut. Aaron Mack saying, good evening, gentlemen. Aaron Mack, good evening to you, sir.
Good evening.
Slide on up here. We're hanging out. Spread Thin Hobby saying, good miss that caution. Yeah, I'd say so. And Callie H, unfortunately, I couldn't get that replay to play and fire off. It's a whole technical thing that even I don't understand. It is what it is, unfortunately.
Sometimes it's better we don't try to understand.
Look, I'm perfectly fine. When the government doesn't tell me something, it's because it really freaked me out. So if I can't understand something that SDK is doing, it's fine. I don't want it to freak me out.
Because we got Derek Heitman here. These 3 cars, Heitman, Gitter, and DiCianni has broken away from the back. Here's we got roughly maybe 25-ish, 22-ish laps. So we're doing St. Louis back now.
It's all right. We know that y'all can't math real good down in St. Louis, but what I can tell you is that Dalton Mobley is suddenly being challenged here by Dalton Mobley challenging the 68 of Skip Gandy. Now gets on by Timothy Cook and puts Chris Davis in the crosshairs. So Dalton Mobley moving forward here in the deuce. He's got it working well out of Cooper, Texas. Now, as long as he can hold it steady, he can continue that recovery drive up here toward the high side. He's up 9 positions from where he had started this race back in 23rd, and now runs in 14th.
He had broken in that top 15, broken into the top 15, and coming to the front. So here, one of those top 13 guys, look out because he's coming to a spot near you.
Just watching Derek Heitman lead this piece now as Patrick Gitter still in tow. He's followed by Matt DiCianni, Sean Rogers, Chad Sander, Cody Colley, Sean Kelly. And Sean Kelly now in the 23 working his way past Cody Colley. Of course, Cody Colley with a little bit of a fan club in our YouTube.com live chat has some support from the viewers at home. They both follow Chad Sander in the 94, which is being painted as the 17 tonight for reasons I'm not quite sure of, but there it is. But Randy Belk is starting to creep in here behind Alex Prinsen, as it looks like maybe we've had a connection issue deep in the field.
Very deep in the field, we have a connection. the top three have not had connections. They pulled away and they got another car to go a lap down in their crosshair.
Dalton Mobley all by his lonesome between Brian Tarnowski and Timothy Cook. Right now running very comfortably on the racetrack as we take a look here at the young man. As he runs down the back chute, he's got Timothy Cook behind him, and Timothy Cook is being harassed right now by Skip Gandy in the 68 in the Great Dane Chevrolet. Now, all of a sudden, Skip Gandy looks to the low side. He's going to make the pass. This is a battle for 15th. As Gandy crosses the start-finish line, he has the edge over Cook, and he sticks the low side. Don't look now, though, but the 40 of Ethan Eckert ready to try to split these two like an atom.
Johnny come lately, Ethan Eckert there. Where has he been at all my life? Right now he's going 3 wide. Here he comes. That number 40 car there. He's had a good run so far, Ethan Eckert. And then I see the Red Bull car up there as Ethan Eckert gets into the Red Bull car. Hey, look, I hope that car has wings.
Well, if it doesn't, at least they know what they can put in it to make it have wings. That's for sure as we work lap 145. 20 to go here in stage number 2. We're starting to get into that pit window now. As we'll pull up the pit strategy, 43 laps on Heitman, Gitter, and DeCiani's cars. So any minute now, we're going to start to see green flag pit stops, as they will not be able to make it to the, well, they may not be able to safely make it to the end of stage 2, or they wind up trying to squeeze this out and turn this into a fuel mileage stage here. You know, when it comes to stage 2, you have to think to yourself, you know, hey, they burned a few tires early. In fact, 1, 2, 3, 4, possibly 4 sets, 5 already. So that doesn't leave them but 5 left in the pits. So it's going to be an interesting run here to the end of 2.
An interesting run it is. And these guys are all out there halfway to Reno right now. In fact, put them on the 310 to Yuma. But these guys are all out there all out there on their lonesome. They are on Tennessee time right now.
Lap 148 of 267, so about 120 laps to go altogether, but 20 to go here, just less than 20 now. In stage 2, Matt Mackin being passed by John Wilco as he came into the pits. Matt Mackin coming down a little early. We can see here, I don't know if this was intentional. What is going on with Matt Mackin? We're going to find out. Mackin, on our timing and scoring, showed that he had gone into the pits, but it doesn't look like it to me. That's definitely the Nellis straightaway.
I know I'm not tripping.
No, you're sitting down. If you trip while you're sitting down, you've had way too much to drink. Taking a look right now at Matt DeCiani as he's running in 3rd position right now, just lurking behind Derek Heitman and Patrick Gitter. Heitman and Gitter at this point are kind of in a situation where they think to themselves they can finish this out 1-2 for stage 2. But the question really is, do they want to try to chance this away, you know, and literally roll the dice in Las Vegas?
Well, I mean, we're in Las Vegas. You got to gamble at some point.
You know, you say that, but even with 15 laps here in stage 2, I got to tell you, I'm not much of a gambler. If you're in Las Vegas, you don't have to gamble anymore. It's not the only thing to do. I mean, for me, if I got a trip to Las Vegas, you know, planned, I want to check out the Clark County Museum. I want to check out, you know, the pawn shop, the gold and silver pawn shop, that is. Of course, home of the Pawn Stars from the History Channel. I want to check out Count's Customs. I want to go see Rick's Restorations. Like, those are the things I want to do in Las Vegas. Not necessarily spend my time in a casino away from the sun, quite frankly. And, you know, maybe I'd catch like Wayne Newton because I feel like we should see him before he dies. Thanks to Disney animatronics, he may never die.
Well, you know, so look, if I'm in Vegas, I gotta see Neil, Mother effing Diamond. Okay. Sweet Caroline.
Look, I understand. You gotta do what you gotta do. But, you know, I mean, there are just some things in Las Vegas that aren't worth doing. One of them happens to be gambling. Wow, John Wilco just kissing the wall here. As the 44 of Sean Rogers comes along with Bobby Anderson now. Anderson getting sandwiched right between Chris Davis and Chad Sanner. And all by his lonesome right now is Randy Belk watching from behind. And Randy Belk probably in a really good position here to stay out of trouble as we roll through the start-finish line in the tri-oval. He's got just enough reaction time that if somebody makes a mistake in front of him, he can avoid that.
I can tell you, you know, Hank Williams had a song, "He's just so lonesome he could cry." Well, the only one that isn't crying because they're lonesome is Hyman, Gitter, and DiCiani there in the front. They're the only ones not crying because they're alone.
Randy Belk in the 50 looking on behind Sean Rogers as we move through this piece. Now taking a look further back in the field, this is the battle for 18th position as Timothy Cook is holding on to 18th. He wants to get up into 17th before the end of the stage. It doesn't look like he's got enough to make that happen as everybody pretty much has their battle orders given to them. You will stay out, you will finish the stage, and you will not come down with 10 to go.
I don't think so. I think we're gonna roll the dice here. Who's gonna show their hand? I don't think anybody's gonna blink first. I really don't.
No, nobody's going to be blinking, that's for sure, as we get within 10 laps to go of the end of the stage. 8 now, as we're on lap 157. And Derek Heitman, your race leader, all of a sudden just shifting back. There he is here leading this race with Gitter and DiCiani behind him. I got to imagine that DiCiani, because he knows what that car is capable of, the Apex Chevrolet, he's got to be considering making a move here toward the end of the stage.
The Apex Chevrolet, almost like the Apex Predator, as he is being stalking Derek Heitman like prey right now.
We're going to go ahead and put the 33 of Ken Ron down another lap, as Ron's been battling all night long. There's the 10 car of Chris Claude, now the lucky dog. So he would get the lap back if the stage ended right now, but they have other plans, as Richard Pruitt is next up on the menu.
Now we're at lap 159. So Richard Pruitt is next in line to go a lap down. Where's our good buddy Matt Mettler running right now? Matt Mettler, where are you running at right now? Oh, Matt Mettler shows on live timing screen he's in 26th.
Spread Thin Hobby saying Great Dane pulling Skippy on a run. Amanda Price still cheering on Sean Rogers in the 44, and Aramac saying those Conti cars are super strong. They absolutely are, Aaron. And, you know, one of the things that I always find interesting is that when teammates are out here, even though that it's not a teammate style race, you can really see that, you know, some of these guys just spent a week in the lab trying to figure out how they were going to battle around this racetrack.
And these are the same Conti setups that Conti runs on the eNASCAR Coca-Cola team.
Derek Heitman with Richard Pruitt in sight now. Pruitt going to try to hold him off the best he can, but quite frankly, we know that he just doesn't have it. These drivers up atop the pile are just that strong. Heitman, Gitter, and DeCiani have been matching one another step for step now, all stage long. As we're on lap 162, working our way toward 165, so we're 3 to go this time by.
So at the stage we're in, Herring, Custer, Gangler, Marty, Papanosa, Gandy, DeCiani, Gitter, and Heitman would be your bonus points.
Yeah, and those bonus points, as you had mentioned earlier, are hugely important. In fact, taking a look at what those bonus points really mean, you know, you can see over on simracerhub.com if you want to take a look at the more detailed race points. You know, you can see those stage points. 14 points were awarded to RJ Root last week. He earned 54 points in his first and what seems to be only start of the season. You know, meanwhile, Chris Davis, he gets 35 bonus points. He gets 35 raw points, 10 bonus points. And as you go further through the field, you see some of these drivers where those bonus points are the only thing keeping them, you know, above water, so to speak. As we work lap 164 coming out of turn number 4, we enter the tri-oval, and now we are in the last lap of stage number 2. Derek Heitman has been dominant here in stage 2. All of a sudden, though, Patrick Gitter starts to peak here on the inside as he wants to get her done in stage number 2. He's going to challenge Derek Heitman to a war of the fenders as we come down the backstretch and into turn 3. Gitter getting a run underneath Heitman. We haven't seen that low side work as well as we would hope it to. They come out of 4 and into the tri-oval. Heitman just dives in front of Gitter and secures the stage 2 victory. It's going to go Heitman, Gitter, DeCiani, Anderson, Davis, Sanner, Rogers, Mobley, Colley, Belk, and Tarnowski, your top 10. Caution comes out, and that's caution number 7, the 5th one. I'm sorry, 5 cautions for cause, 7 total. Hey, Derek, it's Dave up in the broadcast booth. You got me.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Hey, not much, man. I mean, listen, you got yourself a stage win here. Congratulations on the 10 bonus points. That'll help you as we head toward the playoffs later in the season. But, you know, how's that car feeling? It seems like all of you guys from that stable are pretty strong.
Yeah, the car is really good. Started to get a little tight towards the end of the run there, but other than that, we got good log run pace, and I don't plan on touching a thing.
Yeah, I mean, you know, when we talk about, you know, the long run, first stage you had like 40 and change on those tires. This time you got 64 laps out of these tires. As far as getting, you know, through stage 3, of course, we're going to have about 100 laps to go. What are you thinking, and what kind of adjustments are you considering?
I'll probably short fuel it. Not quite too sure on the adjustment yet. I don't really see any tire concern personally. Just plan on keep running a good race and maintaining the tire to, sorry, pulling in the pit box here. Maintaining the tire to be able to have this long run pace and keep her out front.
All right, man. Well, listen, as you get yourself a breather there and maybe a quick sip of Gatorade, good luck here in stage number 3. We might see you here at the end, as it seems like all of you guys from Team Conti are really cranked up tonight. Congratulations on the stage 2 win.
Thank you very much.
Well, Alan, 2 stages are in the books, 1 to go. As a driver, what's going through your mind as we get ready to rock?
Well, now we got 100 laps to, right around 100 laps to go. So now we're gonna start turning that volume up, turning the amp, and you know, the antsiness out there. Now we're gonna start being aggressive. We know we got, you know, at the end of stage 1. We really know we got at the end of stage 2. Now it's time to get after it.
Get out there and get her done here as Derek Heitman stays in the lead after his pit stop. So we're going to step aside here as stage 3 going to be underway when we come back from these messages. Dave Regal and Alan Bergen in the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth. You're watching the Stacy Strong Sunday Night Cup Series live on Sim Racing Media.
My name is Leon Kyles. I'm a prostate cancer survivor. I have 2 adult children, 134, 125, and a wife. And I'm glad to be here today. When I got the initial news of my prostate cancer, it was devastating because I got a phone call from my doctor late in the evening, and I was wondering why he was calling, so I put it on speakerphone, and me and my wife was sitting there watching the movie, and he just came straight out and said, "You got cancer." You know, the first thing that went through my mind was, man, am I gonna make it? So I had a lot of different thoughts going through my mind. You know, I didn't know if I was gonna be able to survive. You know, what was going to happen with my wife, my kids. And, you know, I felt hurt, a lot of pain. Through 211, actually, they gave me the number to Trisha Hope, and which was a great thing because Trisha Hope has been very helpful throughout my process of going through my cancer, going through my surgery. Now it's in remission. I don't have it anymore, no diagnosis. And she really helped me with some bills and stuff like that with a grant that I appreciate very much. She helped me out. Also gave me some referrals to some agencies that could help me out in my city in Anderson. We had at least, you know, probably over the last few months, at least about 6 or 7 conversations where, you know, she would always have an encouraging word to say, always, you know, telling me to be thankful, you know, and just live your life to the fullest, and them the things I've been doing. Anybody that may be experiencing cancer in any shape, form, or fashion, trust God. You have to be patient. You have to make go to your doctor's appointments, and then just, you know, live your life to the full extent. Enjoy yourself, and just keep moving forward because God is there for you. This program is to help cancer patients, and you know, the donations would be gratefully appreciated because they go through a lot of things and they have a lot of doctor's appointments, a lot of bills, things that, you know, they can't take care of anymore because of the job situation, leave of absences. Some people never go back to work. Some people are going through chemo and they need a helping hand. So if you could donate anything to help the Trisha Hope Foundation, it would be greatly appreciated.
Preen Garden Weed Preventer and Preen Garden Weed Preventer Plus Plant Food block weeds before they start and are safe for use around over 400 flowers, vegetables, trees, and shrubs. Best of all, they give you 3 months of freedom from weeding in just 4 easy steps. You can apply Preen anytime before or during the growing season. But since it's a weed preventer, not a weed killer, early spring is best. Here's how. Start by removing existing weeds and their roots in the area where you want to apply Preen. Sprinkle granules directly onto dry soil, mulch, or stone so that they're evenly spaced. Within 24 hours of applying, integrate the granules into the top layer of soil or mulch or stone-covered bed. Finally, water with a hose or sprinkler or a well-timed soaking rain to activate the protective weed barrier. When activated, Preen creates an invisible weed-fighting barrier just below the soil surface that targets and prevents weed seeds from sprouting and forming roots. People and pets may enter the treated area once dusts have settled and the area is thoroughly dry from watering or first rain. That's it. Now you'll have a beautiful weed-free space and 3 months to do anything but weeding. Satisfaction guaranteed. Trusted for over 50 years, Preen is America's #1 weed preventer brand with weed preventers for every type of garden.
With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.
Basket can't defend. He's got the outside line for the second part, and he can't hold on.
Going the long way around. We're going to be 3 wide for the lead as they all come to the line. Who is going to take it in the end?
And here comes Lockwood. He's going to make the move to the outside. Quinn tries to force him off a little bit, but there he goes. It's going to be side by side through turn 1.
Will he be able to cover him off? He does. Weaving back to the left-hand side. Reynolds is trying everything. The kitchen sink is being thrown at it.
They're leaning on each other. Coming into turn number 3. It's going to be a drag race through 3 and 4. Coming back to the line. Here comes Frisch on the bottom.
Richard's going to hold the inside. Tries to be the late breaker here. They're going to be side by side through the final chicane. They bang doors, but keep it clean.
As they're still 4 wide on the run down into the back straightaway. Demerit's looking for a line as well. What is going on in Michigan?
Novak into the fence. They're still beating and banging.
Oh
and to the line.
He is much faster coming through there. Is there damage on Challenger? Apromitis is ahead. There's going to be a race to the line. Who is going to get it?
The most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic, real world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $400,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back to Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Dave Regal and Alan Bergen with you here in the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth just outside the city of brotherly love, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. As we are working lap 185 tonight. We're deep into stage 3 now, about 20 laps in, as Derek Heitman is your race leader in the Team Conti Chevrolet Camaro. He's followed by Matt DiCianni and Patrick Gitter. 3 Chevys atop this pile, while Chris Davis, your first Toyota, and Bobby Anderson running in 7th position, the first Ford. And all of a sudden, it may be in 8th position as Dalton Mobley starting to creep around here. We're taking a look at Bobby Anderson in the 18, as he is the first Ford. They're getting a little wild behind him. That's Seba Cornez stepping out of line. Seba quickly brings it back under control here. Alan, we've watched 186 laps, even during, the commercial breaks. What are you seeing out of these drivers that really makes you go, huh, this might be interesting?
Well, the fact that you're seeing guys that were normally up there starting to fade a little bit, right? So now we're getting later and later into the afternoon here, as we would be during the real NASCAR race. So now we're going to see these cars get a little more grip in them as we go through the afternoon. And actually, we're about 2:30 right now. This is the loosest that this track is going to be right now, as we got a 10-mile-an-hour wind and a 17% chance of rain right now. And the temperature right now is about 70 degrees. So it's a nice spring day. The track temp is not really, really hot. It's about 86. So, there's still going to be a little bit of grip in the track. So, now it's time to turn up the heat.
Yeah, and, even though that it's a quote-unquote dry heat with that 17% humidity, 86 degrees on the asphalt isn't bad for Las Vegas. Thank goodness that we aren't here, in July. We always come to Las Vegas in the spring and in the fall, which to me just makes more sense because you don't want to kill people sitting in the stands. The sun can still rip your skin off, but not as bad, so to speak, in these early and late months of the year.
Hey, look, I'll take a dry heat over 85 and 100% humidity all day long.
It's incredible that you say that because, we talk about, or we've heard in political circles, oh, drain the swamp, drain the swamp. Washington, D.C. literally is a swamp. It just happens to be covered by asphalt. I cannot imagine what it was like before the 20th century when most of D.C. was still a swamp, quite literally, and how humid and nasty it is. Because, if you've ever been to Washington during the summer, and I have, it's a warm town. The sun beats down on some of those big stone buildings, and it just reflects down onto the poor people walking below. It's almost like being an ant under a magnifying glass. But if you add more humidity onto it than it already gets off of the Potomac and, the tidal basin, that town is just miserable. Yet all of a sudden you go out to Las Vegas and it's 105, but because it's a dry heat, you're going, it's like 72.
105, it feels like 72. Come to the Midwest for roughly about 85, and it feels like about 98.
Watching the 18 here of Bobby Anderson as he works right now just underneath the 56 and the 40. Now, the 56 of Cody Colley, he's running in 7th position. The 40, however, Ethan Eckert going down a lap here. Wow. Colley pushing Eckert as Anderson just drives away down here on the low side. He's not really affected that hard. But at this stage in the race, a caution can get you back onto the lead lap, so that's probably what Eckert's thinking about right now as Derek Heitman runs this piece. Right now, Eckert would be the lucky dog as far as the one lap down cars are. So he's hoping for a caution to come out just, if anything, to get that lap back.
Yeah, trying to get the lap back. And that's the thing is, if this goes green, it's going to be fairly difficult to get the lap back.
Derek Heitman, Matt DiCianni, and Patrick Gitter lead this piece. Let's take a look at each of these drivers as we do have time for that. Derek Heitman, our race leader, he has been dominant since stage 2 as he leads here by just about 0.2 of a second. Matt DiCianni running in second position out of Chicago in the 14 Apex Design Chevrolet. He runs second, up 18 from where he had started back in 20th. Patrick Gitter, our winner back at Daytona, running in third position where he started right now, while Chris Davis, who is our pole sitter from Koshkonong, Missouri, runs in fourth. Fifth position belongs to Sean Rogers in the 44, Kalamazoo, Michigan's very own young man there in the Beast Mode Chevrolet. And he's followed by Bobby Anderson out of Mansfield. And I'm not sure if that's Mansfield, Pennsylvania or not, but Anderson, the first Ford in the field. Cody Colley, back here from Walton, Kentucky. He's got the 56 Nationwide Insurance, kind of a weird, almost like you're seeing a photo in negative paint scheme here for that Nationwide car. Dalton Mobley out of Cooper, Texas, running in 8th. Timothy Cook from Del Rio in the 09 runs in 9th. And Ethan Ball rounds out your top 10 from Princeton, West Virginia.
I've never been to West Virginia.
I have. It's an incredible place. Let me start with this. My buddy and I were going down to a football game. We were watching Marshall play University of Houston back in 2008. And the Phillies were in the World Series. We had our tickets months in advance for this particular game. And as we were driving into West Virginia from the Maryland border, we see this big dust cloud coming up behind us. And all of a sudden we're thinking, like, what is this big dust cloud? What is all this about? Couldn't figure it out. As the dust cloud got closer, we were able to see that it was a West Virginia DOT truck dragging a deer carcass down the side of the road. And we thought, well, West Virginia, wild and wonderful, sure is. Speaking of wild, looks like Seba Cornez may be involved in something wild here. As we're going to take a peek, he makes contact with the 96. Oh, contact with the 96 and gets himself all kinds of turned around. In fact, I'm pretty sure he knows you can't win the race if you're facing that way.
Oh, he's going to get his helmet turned back around to facing the right way. He's going to run down pit road and get that car fixed. As story
Lap
time with Dave.
199, 68 laps to the finish now. As it looks like everybody going to come down pit road.
Unfortunately, story time with Dave ends under caution.
8th caution of the evening, 6th for cause here on lap number 200. Is everybody going to come down for wholesale pit stops? Everybody's going to get themselves a set of Lightyear tires and some Go Fast Dynaco in the gas tank.
We are under caution here. And it looks like Derek Heitman's going to win the race off of pit road there.
They all roll off a pit road. Ricky Williams manages to get himself bumped all the way up here. He last came down on 167. So he and Mettler stay out for reasons I'm going to have to question later, as Heitman, DiCianni, and Gitter all come down here on lap 199.
Why would you... Okay, so you're under caution. You still got 67 laps to go. Come on. His last pit was lap 112.
Mettler drinks.
Mettler drinks beer.
Mettler drinks the chicken cock whiskey.
No, he definitely... Well,
he's definitely hitting the chicken cock whiskey. There he is. He's coming down pit road along with Ricky Williams, Chris Claude. Guess he's decided that this is a smarter idea.
Oh, poor. Oh, man. Sure. Nonetheless.
Spread Thin Hobbies says that he lives an hour from D.C. It is definitely a swamp. Yes, sir.
Hey, look, we're no holds barred on sim racing week. Sunday night. It's almost like we get to take over the world.
I've got 3 jobs here: entertain, inform, and offend. Not necessarily in that order.
You know, when you get engaged, you get 3 rings, right? The engagement ring, the wedding ring, and the supper ring.
Matt DeCiani going to have control of the field when we come back green. Is he and Heitman going to be on the front row? Well, maybe Heitman's going to have control.
They're going to have to pit one more time. At least
they'll
one.
have to pit one more time from here. They can't make it on fuel or tires, that's for sure. If they tried to make it on tires, it'd be kind of like, you know, ice skating on rubber.
So, Dave, you've been watching this league a long time. Anybody that turns their car off during caution when we get down to the
That is a
nitty
common
gritty?
occurrence for many people in this league. Turn the old car off there and try to save a little bit of fuel. I mean, I know basically everybody, at least from my experience on the Joe Gibbs Racing team, I was a vicious ignition cycler. You know, there were many drivers that did that, and it helps sometimes, sometimes not. You know, it's like everything else in racing. Some of it has a little bit more to do with luck than it does with skill.
Now, the other thing I'm interested to see is when it comes down and you're just being to roll the dice, how many guys you see diving off to the apron to get on that flat ground? Because as you know, the fuel pickup is on the left side of the car, and they fuel the car on the right side.
Well, you know, for some of these drivers, and I understand why they would put the fuel pickup on the left-hand side, but for some of these drivers, fuel consumption doesn't much matter. They figure, screw it, I'm going to get to the end regardless. Speaking of getting to the end regardless, looks like Derek Heitman and Matt DeCiani going to bring us back to green. Heitman going to have control of the field. He hits the Geico restart zone, drops the hammer, and away we go.
We have 63 laps to go. And Derek Heitman is out to sizably, once again, if he gets the jump on Matt DeCiani there and that number 14 car down the back straightaway. Now we're coming down to the nitty-gritty.
Heitman gets himself out to a nice jump this time, but they are all kinds of a mess behind him. As we look back deeper in the field, we see Dalton Mobley here in the deuce. He's right behind the 18 of Bobby Anderson. They are side by side yet here under green on lap 204. Looks like Alex Brinson in the 19 has now crawled himself up into the top 10, and this is where you're going to start to see him start to make that move. I mean, he's only got 63 laps to go to the end, and you know what? 63 laps you may think seems like a long time, and believe me, for some drivers it is a long time, but for Alex Brinson, if you want to bring home that checkered flag and really try to solidify where you are in the standings, punch that ticket to the weekend in Phoenix, you know, this is one of those races that you absolutely have to perform well in. Now, the other side of that coin is the fact that we've got many, many weeks, more like months, before we even think about the playoffs. But I know that the minute that the first pitch is thrown in baseball, I'm thinking playoffs. The first coin toss in football, playoffs. You know, and here in NASCAR, the minute that green flag flew in Daytona, these drivers had to be thinking of playoffs. Sean Rogers, driving the number 44 Beast Mode Chevrolet, he just went purple on the timing line. 29.4 seconds on that last lap he did. So obviously it looks like Rogers has figured out how to crank up the crazy here in the 44.
I mean, you're going to come down once again. I would say lap 240-ish is when you're probably going to come down, maybe a little bit sooner than that. But Derek Heitman, he says, you know what? I'm going to do that 20. I'll go to 29.42. His last lap.
Matching one another step for step, that means that he had to be doing like a 29.401, where, you know, Rogers did a 29.402. So by basically 1,000th of a second, if anything. But now as we come back, green flag racing here. Heitman leading this piece. He's followed by DeCiani and Gitter. They would be the podium right now if the checkered flag were to fly. Deeper in the field, though, this is kind of an interesting thing. Chad Sanner working his way, Seba Cornez working his way past Chad Sanner, now puts the 09 of Timothy Cook and Alex Princeton in the crosshairs. And the one thing that I'm seeing here with Sanner is that he's using that low line and he's using up a lot of car. He's using up a lot of tire. Even as he, nearly makes contact here with the 09, they are fender to fender coming out of 2 and down the backstretch. We see Seba right now. Chris Davis just went 29.38. But we see Seba basically beating the bejesus out of that Uruguay Toyota Camry. They are touching. They are bumping. They think it's the last lap at Bristol as Seba quick retreats down here just over top of Sean Kelly in the 23 as they were real. Oh, they're hammering each other.
And
there goes Seba. He goes around. He gets down to the apron.
What a save. What a save.
Save of the night for Seba.
Does he race dirt?
If he doesn't, he should. Let's take a look at that on the replay. Another couple of bumps, and Seba just manages to get it down to the apron and keeps it moving straight here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway as he goes down the Nellis straightaway. Of course, as I had mentioned, this used to be an airstrip here, then it became a drag strip, and of course then they built the racetrack around it. And now the Nellis Air Force Base is just a stone's throw away as we keep our eye here on Seba as he cannot be a happy driver. We just went and saw him using up a lot of car, and now all of a sudden is back all the way in 22nd position.
22nd position is Seba. And man, regardless of where he's at now, that was still, wow. Save of the race.
Oh yeah, that was impressive regardless, whether or not he had to do the save that way or not. But keeping an eye here on Mark Johnston working just behind Chris Custer out of Ohio. Chris Custer on the high side. He's got some speed up there. He's got a decent amount of grip. But it's just not enough as the guys on the low side of the track know that that's the shortest way around this track, in the words of DW. But as we had just seen with Seba Cornez, Seba wound up using up way too much of the 59, of his own car, and wound up not having enough to try to keep himself in line. As Chris Custer rolls out just behind Mark Johnston and Noah Hamilton, this is a battle for 17th and 16th position that is not even close to over yet. Nothing has been decided for sure as we work lap 214. Even as I say that, Matt DeCiani is now trailing by about a quarter of a second behind Derek Heitman, and we can see DeCiani at least still in that same camera view, but eventually Derek Heitman is going to suddenly take the high road here and start really ticking off these laps as we work 215.
Taking the high road, he is. These guys are about 5 miles away from the nearest competition. And, while everybody behind these guys are going side by side, that's what these guys wanted to see, with these guys working side by side. So that way they had a breakaway. That's like they're running their own race right now.
Well, and Cody Colley here in 6th position. He's currently the first car of this second group. Chris Davis, 3.5 seconds ahead of him, is trailing Sean Rogers in the 44. Cody Colley pretty far back there in the 56. So obviously this second group not going to be that big of a factor, but there are some battles within that battle as Alex Princeton now just over top of Sean Kelly in the 23, and the caution comes out.
Well, that's going to bunch the field back up. So I feel like he come in. And that you might get really, really close. It's going to be close if you come in now. At least you're going to be closer than what you were.
Seba Cornez involved in this caution. Let's take a look and see what happened with him. Watch the 59 getting loose and the rear end of the 59 just coming around. Obviously, he had no right rear left on that car, and as soon as he turned side, there it is. That's a victory donut done the opposite way, because he's certainly not going to be going to victory lane with an incident like that. Here's your thought coming true. Is everybody going to come down pit road? I still don't think they can make it to the end. It's 50 laps to the end. That's a long time on some of these tires. This is where we're going to see that cream rise to the top. And when I say that, I mean that in this particular fashion. These drivers, especially, your Chad Sanders, your Alex Prinsons, your Patrick Gitters and Derek Heitmans, they know how to save their equipment.
Yeah, so how at the beginning of this run we were almost qualifying. You're not going to see that now. You're going to see times back way off.
Yeah, and we're going to see some of the, when I say the cream rising to the top, I also want to highlight the fact that, these drivers that do know how to make this work, they probably don't have to come in one more time. Gitter's probably, hoping for another caution. He might even come in and get another splash of fuel before the end of this caution. And, at this point, 9 cautions, 7 for cause. You have to start thinking to yourself, are we going to have another one before the end of this piece that's going to save them that fuel and that tire wear?
I think we will. I think we're about to have a whole new race now. I think the top 4 or 5 are going to break away like they did last time, and everybody else is just going to be in trouble right now.
Noah Hamilton bringing the 84 pit side, as well as Chris Claude in the 10. You see Chris coming down pit road. Matt Mack and Brian Tarnowski and Tanner Marty all in their pit boxes getting pit service. As Cody Colley being scored as your race leader, he came in at 199. Matt Metler came in at 200. So each of those drivers with about 20 laps on their cars. I think we're going to see Metler have to come in one more time, and I think he's betting on doing that under caution rather than under green.
I don't know. It could go either way. Flip a coin, because it could go either way. But anyways, I think someone's going to double down here.
Lap 219 of 267. We're in the midst of stage 3. We're really in the thick of it, quite frankly. And as we get deeper into this race, we're going to start to see, your Patrick Gitters and Derek Heitmans show why they deserve to be in the playoffs, show why they deserve to be leading this race, even as Cody Colley and Matt Metler are going to have control of the field. Now, what's interesting there is that if they should spin the tires by accident when the green flag runs, they can accidentally accordion this whole field.
And that's what I'm scared of.
That's what you're scared of. Think about Patrick Gitter and Derek Heitman. They've got to be ready to soil themselves.
So look, he got Cody Colley and Matt Metler up there right in the front row. Guess what? Derek Heitman, Matt DiCianni, Sean Rogers, Chris Davis, and pretty much everybody in the field. Yeah, they can, they're going to still play. They're not even going to waste time. I'm willing to take these odds to Vegas that Patrick Gitter and Derek Heitman, they're going to be 1-2 by the time they get down to turn number 1.
You're probably exactly right here. As we get double filed up and ready to go back green flag racing, Cody Colley and Matt Metler going to have control of the field here as we take a look at them. Coming into turn number 3, the iRacing.com pace car has gotten plenty of laps in tonight with 9 cautions altogether. 2 of those, of course, being for the stage breaks, but the other 7, they were legit, so you're probably looking at about, 7, 4, 28, and 2 more is 16.
Carry the 1.
Yeah, carry the 1, like 60 laps of caution. Nearly an entire stage. Cody Colley Going to creep into the Geico restart zone, drops the hammer, and he is about to be pushed by Patrick Ginter. Patrick Ginter looking for a way to get around Cody Colley. Finds it with relative ease. It looks like Matt Mettler is about to melt through the field, kind of like a snow cone here in the hot desert sun.
Matt Mettler held up the outside line. And as a driver, if you're about 3 cars deep in that outside line, you are not putting Matt Mettler on your Christmas card list. As Mettler is losing wholesale positions right now, he is all the way back down to 7. 3 wide.
Chris Custer in the middle of a 3-wide sandwich between the 80 and the 90, the 80 and the 12. Just gives a nudge to the 12 of Nolan Hodgson. Now Hodgson shuffled back to 18th position. Biggest mover of the night right now belongs to one Timothy Cook, driver of the 09 Red Bull Chevrolet Camaro, as he is up 37 positions after starting back in, I don't know, 38?
We'll go with 38. I gotta give it to Matt. He's hanging in there at 7th. So how much longer can he hang on to that race car?
White-knuckled as he is, Matt Mettler running in 7th position. He's got Sean Kelly just behind and Sean Rogers just ahead. So sandwiched between a pair of Seans. I thought the title of the show was Between Two Ferns, not Between Two Seans.
Oh, man. Well, I tell you this right now, Dave. We ran 2 stages Colt Trickle's way. Now we're going to run 1 stage Harry's way. And if you get the reference, you get the reference.
I guess if you know, you know.
If you know, you
Go
know.
ahead and tune in to Days of Thunder. You can check that over on Prime Video.
I grew up on that movie. It wasn't until later on I learned it was actually the movie about Dale Earnhardt and Jeff Bodine and their rivalry.
Sure was. I'm going to put this out here in the YouTube.com live chat. I've got a 3-hour flight from Philadelphia to Fort Myers on Thursday. I need some ideas on movies to download. And no, I don't need to watch Wonka. I just watched it, so we can fix that.
Old school Willy Wonka or
The new Wonka. No, the new Wonka movie.
Oh, I'm so sorry for you.
No, it wasn't bad. It was pretty good.
I tell you what gets you through a fight. Go check out some old WWE stuff.
No. That's a hard pass. You almost had me cuss on the air. I think I'd rather put my head into a wood chipper or a snowblower before I watch WWE on the way to. You know, if I sat next to somebody on a plane and they were watching WWE, I don't think I would offer to get out of their way if they have to pee. I generally sit at the window seat. I make sure to pee right before getting on the old plane there. So I don't got to get up for 3 hours. It's no different than going to a ball game for me. Sit for 3 hours. Don't move. Okay, I can do that. But if my seatmate is watching WWE, I'm not getting out of their way very easily. I'm suddenly sleeping like a log. Or I pretend like, that I'm a Paraguayan immigrant and I don't speak the English.
I mean, there's anything on flow racing, of course.
I need something entertaining. Something that I can put in, like, for instance, in my Prime account, I've got the 1989 Batman because Michael Keaton is king.
Oh, yeah.
Mrs. Doubtfire, MASH, Good Morning Vietnam's in there. I just need something that I can put in and take a nap to. So that when I wake up, because I know that I've watched this film repeatedly, I didn't really miss anything.
I can fall asleep to anything. But the snooze fest for me was always Lord of the Rings.
Again, another movie that if I saw somebody watching it on an airplane, I'm not sitting with them.
Any Star Wars film? Come on.
All right, well, that I could maybe stomach.
I mean, you can start at New Hope.
No. Now that they're all out, they got to be chronological now.
true.
Matt DiCianni and Sean Kelly battling it out for second position now. Sean Rogers like a lion in the Serengeti waiting to pounce as he is sitting just behind. Now Sean Rogers going to get up right next to the 23 of Sean Kelly. So a pair of Sean's going after Matt DiCianni. Working lap 232. We're just about 35 laps away now this time by to see the end of the Stacy Strong Sunday Night NASCAR Cup Series race here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Dave Regal and Alan Bergen with you here in the broadcast booth. Patrick Gitter, your race leader right now. Matt DiCianni in hot pursuit with Sean Kelly and Sean Rogers trying to decide who wants to be on the podium at this stage. And you know, we're in stage 3. Guys are going to have to start making tough decisions as we get, you know, later and later here. As the sun starts going down, that also means the sand is running out of the proverbial hourglass.
Yes. Okay, Dave. So, I'll be the official researcher tonight, and I have a list of the top 25 best movies to watch on an airplane.
All right, you have my attention.
Okay. So number 1 is Airplane from 1980.
All right, I'm with it.
Castaway would be number 2 on the list.
No.
Toy Story, number 3.
Not bad.
Notting Hill, which is a hard no for me.
I'd rather open up the emergency exit and bail. Oh, a hard hit into the wall. Oh my. We're having some fun now. That was the deuce. There they go. The caution comes out. That was the 2 of Dalton Mobley. Or at least it looked that way. Let's take a look here and see what happened. We're going to get a chance to take a look at this in detail. Nope, it was the 12 of Nolan Hodgson. Nolan Hodgson got into the 09 pretty hard. Oh. Yeah, that's enough to make a nun cuss. And the worst part is, if we go here to the 09, that's Timothy Cook. He really tried to save it here as we're going to take one more look at this. Watch here from Timothy Cook's perspective. They come out of 4. Nope, that's Randall Watkins. That's not Timothy Cook. Here it is. He gets the hit. He bounces. He thinks he's got it. He thinks he's got it until he don't got it. He's like, oh, I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm not okay. I'm not okay.
Not okay. You can make it from here.
You can absolutely get there from here as all of these drivers suddenly want to create. I got to figure out what's going on with this. It's not my computer. This has to be something in iRacing. So go ahead with your list there. Now, you had just gone to Notting Hill, and I had just threatened to open up the emergency exit and bail out.
Well, it doesn't get much better from there.
Great. Go on.
We left off at Notting Hill.
Notting Hill, yeah, there you go.
Notting Hill. So after Notting Hill, you would have the Holiday from 2006.
Never heard of it. Go on.
The Princess Bride.
I'm a dude.
And then you got the crappy Lord of the Rings movie.
I'm not a weirdo. Go on.
Legally Blonde.
I'm not 16 anymore.
And for those that are about your grandpa's age, 1958 Gigi.
I'm good.
Ocean's 11.
Which one?
Brad Pitt.
The original one or the new one?
Brad Pitt and George Clooney.
All right, you know what? That I might watch. Go ahead. That has some potential. I think I'd be okay with that.
The Aviator?
No.
I mean, you're on an airplane.
Yeah.
Oh.
No.
Okay. Chevy Chase's National Lampoon's Vacation.
Deal. I'm in.
And if you can't get enough of Leonardo DiCaprio, you can always watch Catch Me If You Can.
Watch what?
Catch Me If You Can.
Now, that's a good film. I like, you know what? He played another role in a movie that I don't like to talk about, but I do like Leonardo DiCaprio in Catch Me If You Can. It's a good film, and it's got Tom Hanks in it, and I love Tom Hanks. I like Leo. I'd be okay with Catch Me If You Can. That other film that he was in, no.
And then you can, save, Die Hard.
No, it's a Christmas movie.
True. If you want to get your fill of Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly, they got Step Brothers.
I would rather watch Ricky Bobby, but okay, that's got some potential.
And if you're a Harrison Ford fan, The Fugitive.
Nah, if I'm going to watch a Harrison Ford film on an airplane, it's going to be Air Force One.
Before Sunrise, that's the 1995 chick flick.
Nah.
And then your Star Wars.
Potential if I really needed it.
And if you are a Lindsay Lohan fan, before she got all wrapped up into the bull crap that she got wrapped up in, you got The Parent Trap.
I'd much prefer her after she got all messed up because nothing says there's a good-looking redhead like a heroin addiction.
The Secret Life of Walter Mitty, maybe?
No. The Secret Life of Walter Mitty, I feel like could also be that Ted Bundy thing where he had a secret life. I'm good.
Terminator 2, Judgment Day.
Yeah. I'm picky. I don't like the
Moneyball. You're gonna watch baseball. Might as well watch Moneyball on an airplane.
All right, now that's fair. Now I like Brad Pitt in Moneyball. He was a great Billy Bean. And you know what? That movie. First of all, the book Moneyball shed so much light on the sport and how it came to be in the early 2000s. What it was, and I mean, especially when we were trying to battle the HGH. So
Mark McGuire doesn't like to talk about his past. No. But one guy that will want to talk about his past is this leader, Patrick Gitter, here in the number 21 car. The iRacing.com pace car is off the race track, and we are back green here on lap 239. A little over about 30-ish to go, 21-ish to go, somewhere in there. We're doing St. Louis math here. 27 to go. Sorry, we're doing St. Louis math. 27, really 30-ish, somewhere in there. Give or take a few. But anyways, Patrick Gitter, Matt DiCiani, and Sean Rogers are out to a 3-horse lead right now. Derek Heitman slowly closing in. And the top 3 here, they want to see these cars behind them, 4th position, 5th position, so on and so forth, be doubled up because that's
another quick caution comes out as I don't see smoke, but there must be fire somewhere. Let's see what we have going on. Looks like Timothy Cook may be involved in this one. There's Timothy Cook from the hood. Oh! Wow, that was hard. That was harder than Chinese algebra, that's for sure. Let's take a look at it from the blimp cam. We saw it from the hood. Now let's see if we can find what caused it. He starts rotating, he rotates, and can't make it stop. That'll do it for the 09. If he comes back out here, it's going to be... well, I didn't even know that we had a Special Olympics version of NASCAR, but that's the kind of limp he's about to have if he tries to bring it off a pit road.
Oh, man. Caution number 11.
Working lap
As we-
242. We're going to step aside one last time here before we bring it home tonight here on Sim Racing Media. You're watching the Stacy Strong Sunday Night NASCAR Cup Series.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
The most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic, real world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $400,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
Basket can't defend. He's got the outside line for the second part, and he can't hold on.
Going the long way around. We're going to be 3 wide for the lead as they all come to the line. Who is going to take it in the end?
And here comes Lockwood. He's going to make the move to the outside. Quinn tries to force it off a little bit, but there he goes. It's going to be side by side through turn 1.
Will he be able to cover him off? He does. Weaving back to the left-hand side. Reynolds is trying everything. The kitchen sink is being thrown at it.
They're leaning on each other. Coming into turn number 3. It's going to be a drag race through 3 and 4. Coming back to the line. Here comes Trish on the bottom.
Richard's going to hold the inside. Tries to be the late breaker here. They're going to be side by side through the final chicane. They bang doors, but keep it clean.
As they're still 4 wide on the run down into the back straightaway. Demerit's looking for a line as well. What is going on in Michigan?
Novak into the fence. They're still beating and banging.
Oh
and to the line.
He is much faster coming through there. Is there damage on Challenger? Abramitis is ahead. There's going to be a race to the line. Who is going to get it?
Preen Garden Weed Preventer and Preen Garden Weed Preventer Plus Plant Food. block weeds before they start and are safe for use around over 400 flowers, vegetables, trees, and shrubs. Best of all, they give you 3 months of freedom from weeding in just 4 easy steps. You can apply Preen anytime before or during the growing season. But since it's a weed preventer, not a weed killer, early spring is best. Here's how. Start by removing existing weeds and their roots in the area where you want to apply Preen. Sprinkle granules directly onto dry soil, mulch, or stone so that they're evenly spaced. Within 24 hours of applying, integrate the granules into the top layer of soil or mulch or stone-covered bed. Finally, water with a hose or sprinkler, or a well-timed soaking rain to activate the protective weed barrier. When activated, Preen creates an invisible weed-fighting barrier just below the soil surface that targets and prevents weed seeds from sprouting and forming roots. People and pets may enter the treated area once dusts have settled and the area is thoroughly dry from watering or first rain. That's it. Now you'll have a beautiful weed-free space and 3 months to do anything but weeding. Satisfaction guaranteed. Trusted for over 50 years, Preen is America's #1 weed preventer brand with weed preventers for every type of garden.
With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.
Welcome back to Las Vegas Motor Speedway, where Patrick Gitter leads the Sunday Night NASCAR. Whoa! There goes the 8 out of control. He holds it down, and he keeps it on the apron, so we stay green. Let's see what happened with Alexander. He just saved a lot of people's race. Oh, Alex Princeton caught him. Let's see if we can catch that once again, maybe from... Oh, no, I'm not going to be able to. Well, that was still pretty good. So Alexander Gangler gets involved there, but gets down onto the apron and stays there to keep us green flag racing. We're 16 to go. Dave Regal and Alan Bergen with you here in the Tony Chapassa Memorial Broadcast booth, just outside of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. The yellow flag now comes out as it looks like Chad Sanner and Sean Kelly have gotten into it here. Let's see what happens here with Sanner. He's the green Castrol car. Oh, they make contact, and there goes Kelly, and poof, boom goes the dynamite. So we went away from it with a caution. We come back with a caution. Alan, 15 to go. What, as a driver, are you thinking, and what's going through your mind?
Aggressive, aggressive, aggressive. Be aggressive. Be aggressive.
I mean, you know, you're not wrong, but at the same time, you know, with 15 to go, you've still got a long way. It's kind of like when the 2-minute warning comes about in football. You know, the 2-minute warning comes out, and you think, there's only 2 minutes left. Unless you have some kind of a crazy lead, the rest of that's garbage time. But the garbage time doesn't really exist here in NASCAR, because especially when you have to rack them and stack them and be this close to one another. I don't think we're going to see the leaders come in. We may see some of the lap cars come down, maybe, if they haven't used all of their tire sets just yet. But everybody else in the field coming down on 236. Looks like Pruitt, Wilco, Hamilton, Ball, Williams, and Herring, as well as Cody Colley and Chad Sanner, are going to come down pit road. So maybe they've got an extra set of tires in their pocket, and they're thinking about using them like a pair of aces.
They're not. No. This is all in. Here comes the river. Here comes the Here comes the river. Show what you have. We're beyond poker now. We're all in. We're putting it all on black. You know, looking for snake eyes. I mean, it's better than red. Yeah, you can go either way. 14 to go.
14 laps to go here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. You're watching the Stacy Strong Cup Series, 12th caution of the night. 10th caution for cause, as of course the other two cautions were for the end of stages 1 and 2. Alan, you know, I'm getting to the point where I'm starting to wonder who's got enough, not necessarily gas in the tank, but talent in their hands to muscle their way through this. And right now, I feel like the smart money is on Gitter or DiCiani.
I think Heitman back there and Davis have something to offer here at the end of this race. I would even go as far as to say Sean Rogers, too. These guys have been up there. They've pulled away from the field. I think that, barring anything crazy happens, I think you're going to see Chris Davis doing Chris Davis things.
I mean, quite frankly, I'm partial to the Sean Rogers idea. He's going to be starting on the outside of row 2 with Derek Heitman to his inside. And if Rogers can make that high side work and take the momentum away from Heitman, that puts him in a good position to get up here with Gitter and DiCiani. As the iRacing.com pace car brings it down pit road with the lights on, that means that we won't be going back green flag racing just yet here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway in fabulous Las Vegas, Clark County, Nevada. Of course, you know, I said it earlier and I'll say it again. I want to go to the Clark County Museum, but not necessarily to see the exhibits, but I want to see the Beard of Knowledge. Mark Hall Packer.
The Beard of Knowledge.
Because everybody should know the name of the museum curator of Clark County.
I agree.
I mean, if you ever watched Pawn Stars on the History Channel, Mark Hall Patton was one of the featured guests for years to authenticate certain things or to explain what certain things were. And some of the stuff that guy knows is just fascinating.
Well, I tell you this right now, as the field gets doubled up, Patrick Gitter knows that he's got 12 laps to just race in the win this race.
Yeah, if we can get our way through these next 12 laps, about 8 minutes of racing, that'll be a good thing. As everybody's going to double up now, it's going to be Gitter, DiCiani, Heitman, Rogers, Anderson, Davis, Gandy, Mobley, Custer, and Ron Fitting, your top 10. And don't forget, you know, just because there were stage points awarded in 1 and 2 doesn't mean that they're not here now. So those stage points for stage 3 are still in play this time around, Alan. And, you know, as I mentioned earlier, a lot of these drivers that had, you know, a good amount of stage points last week, but maybe not as good of race points, still did very well because, I mean, long story short, it just makes them, you know, it brings them up in the standings even if they're way down low.
Yeah, so, you know, we're still, look, every point matters. And I say that all the time, but, you know, it couldn't be any more true. Every point matters, and every point in this series matters. As we are coming back to green here, the iRacing.com pace car makes a hard left off the turn, out the track, and Patrick Gitter's going to lead us down to the Geico restart zone here as we go back to green. 12 to go. Now, Patrick Gitter's got to hope that he's the only one out front and he go double file.
Heitman getting ready to work underneath DiCiani as Heitman now passes DiCiani with relative ease, now 11 laps to go. Heitman not satisfied just yet as he's ready to challenge Patrick Gitter for the lead. As these two drivers haul it into turn 1, they are side by side, neck and neck going into turn 1 now. Gitter just goosed it a little extra to get himself rolled out of 1 and 2 early. which puts some distance between himself and now Matt DiCiani, as DiCiani has still found a way to use that middle to high line there, as the track has really taken rubber nice today.
Now here's what Gitter wanted. He wanted it to go single file, but he wants second, third, fourth, fifth, and so on and so forth to be double filed so he can pull away.
Now watch the 76 holding off Sean Rogers in the 44. Now Sean Rogers was just all over the 76, and he basically wiggled to break up that draft and keep away the 44. Now enters Sandman. Bobby Anderson here in his Ford in his Ford Mustang comes down the front stretch and into turn 1, being pushed along right now by Bobby Anderson.
Here comes the Candyman.
They're not
Bobby
ready
Anderson.
just yet.
Here comes the Candyman, Bobby Anderson. To the inside of Derek Hyman, that 76 car. Not enough momentum.
Watch that 76 as he's pushed by Chris Davis in the 74. We haven't called Davis's name lately, as he was our pole sitter earlier on in the evening. 5-6 drivers now going the wrong direction on the timing line. So, you know, everything from three positions down to 17 and 19 for Ethan Ball and Cody Cawley. The caution comes out with 6 to go. We're going to have NASCAR overtime.
NASCAR overtime. That's 13 cautions.
Lucky 13, as we take a look here to see what might have happened with Chad Sanner and why his name is highlighted on here. We see the 89 over top of him. He's working his way toward Matt Mackin in the 01. He catches Mackin, turns Mackin, drifts up, catches the 89, and does some fine landscaping here. So 5 laps to go. We're going to wind up being almost NASCAR overtime eligible. Patrick Gitter going to stay out front. He's got the iRacing.com pace car between he and Victory Lane. Matt DiCiani and Derek Heitman in 2 and 3. Chris Davis looks on from just off the podium itself. And I got to be honest, Alan, I'm starting to get nervous for some of these drivers.
Me too. So, we're right around our caution. Dave, I got a little bit of trivia for you. We're at 13 cautions.
Yep.
Las Vegas, highest caution. Highest number of cautions.
22.
No.
Not a clue.
14. We're one away from dying a wreck in real life. 2009. 14 cautions. $70 laps under caution in 2009 in the spring race.
Well, with 4 to go here, the iRacing.com pace car lights are still on. That means that when he comes around, it would officially be 2 to go, so we will be in NASCAR overtime. Now, what NASCAR overtime means, folks, is that when the green flag flies, we'll race around, we'll do 1 lap green. If the caution should come out between the green flag and the white flag, we'll rack them, stack them, and do it all over again. When the white flag flies, the next flag ends the race, whether it's yellow or checkered. So what we're hoping to do here is get 1 clean lap in, and then all hell can break loose on that final lap.
I think it will.
I think you might. As we come into the Geico restart zone, we should start to see that iRacing.com pace car turn its lights out. There they go. Nope. Nope. So we're going to have another parade lap here, Alan.
Well, I will say this, Dave. I am excited for Tuesday. Because on Tuesday, if you are a fan of micro sprints, that is your day. We get new content and rain.
Yeah, nothing like the big old iRacing update that we see every so often. Of course, the big thing this time around is going to be rain. I'm curious to see how they build that in to the way that it's going to work on the sim. Is it going to be something that can randomly come about? Oh, you're eligible for rain in this race, or is this something that you can manually turn off and on if you're in race control? Or option number 3, it just rains the whole friggin' time. I'm curious to see how this is going to work.
I don't know. But I'm excited for mini sprints, for micro sprints, and Millbridge. And if you like the SRX cars, well, they got that too. So even though Tony Stewart's SRX got defunct, you can still have SRX races.
Well, even though the SRX League itself has become defunct, we are getting iRock back this year. Not this year, next year.
Thank you, Ray Evernham.
Ray Evernham, I don't know if anybody caught the Ray Evernham interview on the Dale Jr. Download, but, to look inside his brain and see how he works is incredible. There's a guy who wants to see... I feel like you would find him in a fixed league here on iRacing or in the fixed lobbies on iRacing. He loves it when it's fixed and it's all about the driver.
Yeah. I can tell you...
Of course, it helps when your driver's Jeff Gordon.
Yeah, Wonder Boy, come on. He's one of the few crew chiefs that I feel like thought like an engineer.
Well, he paid his dues coming through the ranks in the garage. He didn't just walk in and say, I'm gonna reinvent the wheel. He came through and proved that he could reinvent the wheel. Speaking of wheels, though, Patrick Gitter and Matt DiCiani are going to have their hands high on those steering wheels as we come into turns 3 and 4. This is for all the marbles, folks. NASCAR overtime engaged as Patrick Gitter going to have control of the field. The iRacing.com pace car going to make that hard left turn down pit road. Gitter has an angry hornet's nest all around him, and it all comes down to this in NASCAR overtime. Who's going to win when the green flag flies? We are racing.
Racing back to green. We got to make one green flag lap. And then, do whatever you want. But
Gitter just got himself up here into the lead, got a major jump, about 0.3 of a second, and they are back here bumping and banging as we come down the back chute and into turn 3. Heitman and DiCiani side by side coming out of turn number 4. The white flag is in the air, and we're racing back to checkers. Patrick Gitter has the lead. We're not worried about him. He's nice and calm up there, but Derek Heitman and Matt DiCiani haven't decided who's going to finish second. This is the race right here. Chris Davis looking on from behind, tries to get a run down the backstretch. He does, nearly side drafting the 14 of Matt DiCiani. He's got the run going into turn number 3. As they roll out of 3, DiCiani gives him a little bit extra, slides up in front of him. Patrick Gitter done here at Las Vegas. He's followed on the podium by Derek Heitman and Matt DiCiani, and on the final lap of the race, Derek Heitman sets the fast time at 29:17 here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. But the congratulations and accolades all go to Patrick Gitter here, driver the number 21 Chevrolet Camaro. So the 21 gets his way into victory lane tonight here at Las Vegas.
That's win number 2. He won at Daytona. Oh, look at him burn it down.
What a good win by Patrick Gitter, as we can say that he definitely Gitter done.
And that's, I believe, a team win for Team Conti. Ooh.
Hey, Patrick, it's Dave up in the broadcast booth. You get a copy?
10-4, I got you.
Hey, man, congratulations on the win here. I mean, you definitely get her done here at Las Vegas. You got it done a couple of weeks ago. So now, what are you thinking as you're able to celebrate now twice on the season?
Yeah, man, it was just hard fought race. We were pretty strategic there. Shout out to my teammates there, Matt and Derek up front. We worked together just really, really well the whole race. And then we all knew once it got down to the end, I mean, once we felt comfortable with our position, the gloves were gonna come off, and I was just fortunate that I was out there up front. But I know it's just a matter of time before Matt and Derek pick up a win themselves here. They're both incredibly talented. I've been racing with them on here a long time, so I know it's just over the horizon here for both of them.
Yeah, it's always really cool when you can see an entire team, the entire podium made up of teammates. I mean, you guys obviously put the work in. Now, as we start to focus, deeper into the season, you've got a pair of wins under your belt. You're already going to, that round of 16. What do you do now as a teammate? Do you try to get your other teammates into victory lane, or do you just keep racking them up?
No, I think there's a point where it's a matter of, all right, let's turn the focus over to teammates to make sure everybody gets in. I think tonight for me it's so early in the season, and I was just in such good position there at the end. I couldn't really afford to hand it away, in my opinion, just because I don't want to get to the end of the season and be in a playoff points position where I feel like, man, I really wish I would have not given that away at Vegas. So that's where it kind of lands. But yeah, man, I mean, we're all such good teammates. I feel like any one of us would pitch in for the other, as the season goes on, to help out whenever we need to.
Well, that's just being a good teammate on you then. Well, buddy, listen, after the run tonight, who do you need to tip your helmet to as we get ready to close out the evening?
Yeah, I mean, first off, Derek, Matt, Randy, I mean, those three guys on our team, we do a fantastic job of talking during these races, and it could have easily have been Matt or Derek that won tonight. I mean, Derek led a ton of laps tonight, and I think it's really the biggest cycle was when I think I came out front on a really good pit stop early run, so that was the main difference. But shout out to those guys for being fantastic teammates. Team Conti Sim Performance for the fantastic set. We've been fast all week, and the results, I think, helped speak to that tonight. Martin PC and Apex Designs. Matt and I both running Apex Designs paint scheme tonight. They look fantastic. Kevin Steele does really great work. So check him out if you're interested in a paint. And appreciate you guys in the booth, and Chris Claude for working the lead for us.
All right, my friend, listen, congratulations. You will see Alan, and I'm not sure who's going to fill my seat next week as I'm off next week. So good luck at Phoenix, and I'll see you in a couple of weeks.
10-4. Appreciate it, guys.
All right. And Alan, I believe that you have our second place finisher, Derek Heitman, with you as we get him pulled on up here.
Derek Heitman is down to Dave in the SRM booth. How is it going, my friend?
Pretty good. How are you?
Well, I'm doing good. You wanted that one position better, I'm sure. But take us through that last lap as you saw your teammates slipping away and you guys were 2x2.
Oh, I mean, it was just clean racing by us. We were just trying to buy our time, and we had a conversation about when we were going to take the gloves off, and that green-white checkered was it. And so we finally decided to race each other really hard. Matt and I got caught racing side by side. I probably should have took the bottom entering turn 3 on the restart before we took the white, but letting Matt have the bottom there kind of slowed me down a little bit, kind of slowed him down a little bit, and that's what allowed Pat to get the distance to get away. But we escaped with the fastest lap of the race, so I guess that's a win in itself.
So like next week we go to Phoenix. Are you gonna approach that race any differently than you approach this race? Are you hoping to do one spot better?
Oh, definitely hoping to do one spot better. As far as approaching it different, Not really. I mean, it'll be the same story. Show up and race, and where I wind up. You know. Hopefully we have another good piece next week to keep us up front, and we'll just see what happens.
All right. Well, is there anybody that you'd like to thank to help get you here tonight?
Shout out my teammates, Pat and Matt, and of course Randy. Unfortunately, Randy got caught up in a wreck late in the race, but Matt and Pat, good teamwork up at the front. We really controlled that race. He won stage 1, I won stage 2, and then Pat won the race, so all three of us got a win. So shout out them, shout out Team Conti, Mike Conti. Great program he's got, great teacher, puts out awesome setups every single week. And then shout out you guys as well for putting together a good broadcast, sitting here through this entire race and keeping it interesting.
All right, that's Derek Heitman, your P2 finisher.
All right, and certainly last but not least, as we get him pulled on up in here, Matt DiCiani, driver of the number 14. Hey, Matt, it's Dave up in the booth. You got me?
Yeah, I got you.
Hey, man, listen, you didn't get the checkered flag tonight after, getting a green and white checkered flag for a stage victory, but you still finish on the podium. How are you feeling tonight as we wind down here at Las Vegas?
Yeah, it's a good run, good team effort. Yeah, I mean, I put myself in position, just kind of wish we didn't have LZLs at the end so we could have raced it out, but, here's what it is, and we'll take it.
Yeah, I mean, it's always cool when we get to see, an entire team finish on the podium. Obviously, you guys are working together. I said to Gitter earlier, whether or not now he's at a point where as you get yourselves all lined up, especially going to Phoenix next week for the Shriners Hospitals 500, does he wind up trying to help you guys notch those wins in your belt, or does he still try to collect trophies? And, it sounds like you guys are going to work really well as a team this year.
Yeah, us three have worked fantastic together for a while, and yeah, I mean, we'll work together as the best we can, but we're all greedy. We're all gonna want wins, so I mean, we'll race each other clean. But yeah, I wouldn't say either one of us is gonna hand it to each other.
That's for sure. Well, listen, before we head to Phoenix next week, we got to close out this week. So before we cut you loose, who do you need to thank for tonight's run?
Yeah, thank Team Conti. We've had a great setup this week. Shout out to Pat on the win, Derek. We had probably the class of the field tonight, all three of us. And yeah, it was a good race altogether. And thanks to Chris for putting on the league, and thanks to you guys for calling the race.
All right, brother. Listen, congratulations on the podium finish. Go ahead and celebrate with those teammates, and we'll see you next week at Phoenix.
All right, guys. Take care.
Well, Alan, another one in the books here in the Stacy Strong SNN Cup Series, and I could not be more excited to have brought this race tonight because these drivers absolutely put on quite a show.
Yeah, they did. A show they put on, and, hey, look, next week we're going to Phoenix. So, we're going to continue this little West Coast swing into the desert before we head back to the fast half mile of Bristol, Tennessee. And it's not going to be dirt this year, but it's still Bristol.
That's all right. I think I'm done with Bristol dirt, that's for sure. Before we get out of here, we want to take one final look at our results from Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Patrick Gitter brings home the checkered flag, and he is joined on the podium by teammates Derek Heitman and Matt DiCiani. Bobby Anderson finishes in fourth, while Chris Davis rounds out the top five. Sean Rogers, Skip Gandy, Dalton Mobley, Ron Fitting, and Nolan Hodgson make up your top 10, as Alex Princeton finishes 11th. Chris Custer and Eric Papineau finish 12th and 13th. John Wilco finishes in 14th out of McAdoo, Pennsylvania. Noah Hamilton finishes in 15th, with Mark Johnston, Randall Watkins, and Chris Claude finishing 16th, 17th, and 18th. Richard Pruitt and Brian Tarnowski finish in 19th and 20th to round out that top 20, while Ethan Ball and Tanner Marty finish 21st and 22nd. Cody Colley finishes in 23rd, while Chad Sander, Alexander Gangler, Matt Mackin, Ricky Williams, and Matt Gaskins, along with Ken Ron, round out the top 30. Sean Kelly finishes in 31st. Timothy Cook and Matt Metler finish 32nd and 33rd, with Seba Cornez and Ethan Eckert finishing 34th and 36th. Randy Belk and Hank Kasten, as well as Michael Witt, finish out your top 38, while Kavaja Holt and Anthony Savignano finish out your top 39, the drivers who took the green flag tonight, as Jeff Carson was the first to not make it as a non-chartered driver here. So for myself, Dave Regal, and Alan Bergen here in the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth, we want to thank you for making us a part of your evening. As always, thanks for tuning in and subscribing to Sim Racing Media. You guys make it worth it to put these shows on, so we're just thankful that you're along for the ride with us every step of the way. Tomorrow, as you go through your day and every day as you walk down the road of life, remember, don't play in traffic. Good night, everybody.
Night.